Today I will share with you some life-changing philosophy. Before we start, make sure to like the video and subscribe. Also, comment where are you watching from and at what time you are watching. Have a nice sleep. In this era of constant noise, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. Every moment is bombarded with sounds and visuals, phones buzzing, screens flashing, the world demanding our attention. This relentless stimulation can make us feel like we're losing ourselves in a sea of endless chatter and digital noise. But what if I told you that the secret to gaining back control lies not in doing more, but in embracing less? The ancient Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, mastered this art thousands of years ago. They taught us that real strength doesn't come from reacting to every stimulus, but from choosing what to focus on and when to remain silent. You have power over your mind, not outside events, Marcus Aurelius wrote, reminding us that serenity begins with internal quiet. Today we're diving deep into why cutting back on mental clutter and unnecessary talk can transform your life. We'll explore 7 powerful benefits of thinking less, speaking less, and focusing more. These are not just life hacks, but profound changes that can lead to greater tranquility, deeper wisdom, and lasting success. And remember, if you appreciate what we're doing here, a simple free favor I'll ask is for you to hit that subscribe button. Don't skip any part of this video. Stick with me, and let's uncover how embracing the Stoic way can help you reclaim your peace of mind and power over your life. Benefit 1. Reduce stress and anxiety. Ever felt like your brain is just a whirlwind of worries and what-ifs? It's exhausting, right? But here's a thought from the Stoic playbook. Maybe the key to less stress isn't more thinking, it's less. The Stoics, like Epictetus, taught us that it's not the events themselves that disturb us, but our interpretation of these events. By focusing less on the noise and more on what we can control, we start to experience a real shift in our stress levels. When we actively decide to cut down on our mental clutter, something amazing happens. Our mind gets a break. Think about it. If your mind was a browser with dozens of tabs open, each one representing a worry or a thought, wouldn't closing some of them help it run better? That's essentially what we're doing when we choose to think less about things we can't control. We're closing the tabs. We're choosing not to engage with every fleeting thought that comes our way. And speaking of thinking less, it's about quality over. It's not about suppressing thoughts, but guiding them. It's like gardening. You keep the plants you want and pull out the weeds. If a thought doesn't serve you or is out of your control, why let it take up space? When we simplify our thought processes and focus only on actionable and positive thoughts, the weight on our shoulders lightens. This approach is rooted deeply in Stoicism, which emphasizes resilience and emotional control through rational thinking. By practicing these principles, you can train your mind to remain calm and collected in situations where you normally feel stressed or anxious. It's about responding to life's challenges with a level head and a clear mind, not with panic or despair. This doesn't just reduce stress, it transforms how we perceive challenges, turning them from insurmountable mountains into manageable hurdles. Benefit 2. Increase calmness and serenity. It's fascinating when you think about it. The moments when we're truly at peace are often the ones that are the quietest. This is something the Stoics understood deeply. They championed the idea that serenity comes from within, not from the chaos of the outside world. When we choose to engage less with the turmoil around us and focus more on our inner calm, the world doesn't seem as loud or as frantic. Calmness and serenity aren't just pleasant states of mind, they're powerful tools. By speaking less and listening more, we create space for peace to grow. It's like when you're on a bustling city street and suddenly step into a quiet library. Suddenly the world shifts, the pace changes, your breath deepens. This is the effect of embracing silence in our daily lives. When we stop feeling the need to fill every silence with words, we start to appreciate the richness of quiet. Stoicism teaches us that by controlling our reactions, we can maintain an inner calm regardless of external circumstances. Imagine being in a stressful situation. Say, a work deadline looms and the pressure mounts. Instead of getting caught up in a frenzy of stress and last-minute hustle, you take a step back. You breathe. You prioritize your tasks. You focus on one thing at a time. This is the Stoic method in action. Clearing the mind, simplifying the task, and approaching it with a calm focus. The benefits of this approach are immense. Not only does it allow us to handle stress more effectively, but it also enhances our overall well-being. When we're calm, we're better thinkers, listeners, and problem solvers. We're more present in our relationships, and we're better able to enjoy life's pleasures. Being serene doesn't mean being passive. It means being actively engaged in the pursuit of peace. By incorporating Stoic practices into our routine, such as meditation, reflection, and mindful breathing, we cultivate a tranquil mind. These practices help us filter out the noise and focus on what truly matters. They teach us to respond, not react. The more we practice, the more natural it becomes to remain undisturbed by the chaos of everyday life, and the deeper our well of serenity grows. On the matter of well of serenity, this doesn't just benefit us individually, it radiates outward, influencing our environment and the people around us in positive ways. Benefit 3. Enhance focus and productivity. Have you ever noticed how much more you get done when you're truly dialed into what you're doing? That sharp, crystal clear focus that makes you feel like you can accomplish anything is not just a random occurrence. It's a state of mind that you can cultivate deliberately, especially if you take a leaf out of the Stoic playbook. The Stoics were big on focusing only on what's essential, cutting through the noise to concentrate on what truly matters. In our hyper-connected world, distractions are not just common, they're built into our everyday life. Phones ping, emails arrive incessantly, and social media feeds update constantly. But imagine if you could turn down that noise. Imagine organizing your day so that you could focus fully on each task before moving on to the next. This is the essence of Stoic focus, giving your whole attention to one thing at a time and doing it excellently. This kind of focus naturally leads to increased productivity. When you're not splitting your attention across multiple tasks, you're not just working harder, you're working smarter. You begin to notice details you might miss when multitasking. You solve problems more efficiently and come up with better solutions because your mind isn't flitting from one thing to another. The Stoics teach us that by eliminating unnecessary thoughts and actions, we free up our mental resources for important tasks. This doesn't mean ignoring your responsibilities, but rather prioritizing them in a way that allows you to deal with them one at a time, giving each your full energy. For instance, when tackling a project, you might break it down into manageable parts and set clear goals for each session. This methodical approach reduces overwhelm and makes large tasks feel more doable. Furthermore, practicing Stoicism helps us develop the resilience to resist distractions. By fostering inner discipline, we train ourselves to stay on task even when temptations arise. We become more aware of our impulses, to check our phone, to browse the web, and we learn to pause, recognize the distraction for what it is, and return to our task with renewed focus. Benefit 4. Boost self-control. Self-control is one of those superpowers that seems almost mythical, isn't it? It's like every time we manage to say no to that extra slice of cake, or yes to an early morning workout, we're tapping into something extraordinary. But what if I told you that self-control isn't just about resisting temptation? It's about much more. According to Stoic philosophy, it's about governing our reactions to the world around us in a way that aligns with our deepest values. Now, the Stoics were masters of self-discipline. They believed that the path to happiness was paved with virtue, and that self-control was a critical part of that. For them, it wasn't about denying themselves the joys of life, but choosing not to be dominated by passions that could lead to irrational decisions and ultimately unhappiness. This is why they practiced moderation in all things, from their emotions to their actions. In today's context, boosting self-control can mean the difference between getting swayed by every little distraction that comes your way, or staying steadfast on your path to personal and professional fulfillment. Think about how often we're pulled away from important tasks by less important but immediately gratifying distractions. Every time you choose to focus on your work instead of checking your phone, You're exercising self-control. This kind of discipline directly impacts our productivity and our ability to achieve our goals. When you strengthen your self-control, you're not just improving your ability to work without interruption, you're also enhancing your ability to think critically and make decisions that are not influenced by fleeting emotions. This is essential because emotions can be powerful drivers of action, but when left unchecked, they can lead us astray. Stoicism offers practical steps for boosting self-control. For example, practicing mindfulness can help us become more aware of our impulses, allowing us to respond rather than react by taking a moment to pause. When an impulse strikes, we give ourselves the space to choose a response that aligns with our goals and values. This might look like taking a few deep breaths when feeling overwhelmed, or stepping back to assess whether our next action will help or hinder our progress. Enhancing self-control is about cultivating a deeper sense of peace and satisfaction. As we become more adept at controlling our impulses and managing our responses, we find that we're not only more productive but also more content. We're less at the mercy of the ups and downs of our emotions, and more in tune with a stable, balanced way of living. Benefit 5. Communicate more effectively. Communication is like the glue that holds our social fabric together, isn't it? Whether it's chatting with a friend, discussing a project at work, or even negotiating a deal, how we express ourselves plays a pivotal role in the outcome. Now, Stoicism might not be the first thing that comes to mind when you think about communication skills, but it's incredibly relevant. The Stoics were big on the idea that it's not just what you say, but how you say it that matters. They believed in the power of being measured and thoughtful with words, which is essential for clear and impactful communication. So, how does embracing a Stoic approach help us communicate more effectively? First off, it teaches us the value of listening. Seneca, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers, famously said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen twice as much as we speak." This is golden advice in any conversation. Active listening helps us to really understand the other person's perspective, not just to wait for our turn to speak. It shows respect and allows for more constructive dialogues. When you truly listen, you respond more thoughtfully, which naturally enhances the quality of your interaction. Moreover, Stoicism encourages us to focus on clarity and brevity in our speech. The Stoics were not fans of rambling or speaking without purpose. They prized the ability to speak concisely and clearly, cutting through the noise and delivering messages in a way that could be easily understood. This doesn't mean being blunt or curt. Rather, it's about being considerate of the listener's time and attention. By choosing our words carefully and ensuring they truly convey what we mean, we reduce misunderstandings and make our communication more effective. There's also the Stoic belief in staying calm under pressure, which is a superpower in difficult conversations. Imagine you're in a heated discussion. The Stoic approach would be to maintain your composure and not let emotions get the best of you. This isn't about suppressing feelings, but about managing them constructively. By staying calm, you keep the conversation productive and open the door to resolutions rather than conflicts. It's about responding with reason rather than reacting with emotion. Incorporating these Stoic principles into your daily communication doesn't just improve how you talk or listen. It transforms your interactions into more meaningful and fulfilling exchanges. Whether it's at home, with friends, or in the workplace, effective communication fosters better relationships, smoother cooperation, and a deeper understanding of others. It's about making every word count and every interaction matter. Benefit 6. Build respect from others. Respect is one of those invaluable currencies in life that can't be bought but must be earned, often through the subtle art of how we carry ourselves and interact with others. Interestingly, Stoicism offers a powerful toolkit for earning this respect naturally. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius believed that respect comes from personal integrity and the ability to maintain composure, particularly in trying circumstances. Their teachings suggest that by cultivating a calm demeanor and thoughtful behavior, we naturally command respect from those around us. Imagine walking into a room where tensions are high, people are anxious, perhaps voices are raised. Now, picture yourself responding not with agitation but with a composed and calm demeanor. This kind of response doesn't just diffuse tension, it also draws people's attention. It makes them think, there's someone who's in control. When you react with poise rather than panic, you demonstrate leadership qualities that naturally make people respect and trust your judgment. Moreover, Stoicism teaches the importance of consistency in our actions and words. Consistency is key to building trust, and trust is foundational to respect. When people know what to expect from you and see that you act according to your principles regardless of the situation, they begin to hold you in higher regard. It's about showing, not just telling. If you consistently apply Stoic principles such as fairness, patience, and self-control, people are more likely to respect you because they see these virtues in action. Then there's the aspect of speaking wisely. Stoics placed great emphasis on thinking before speaking, ensuring that when words are used they are meaningful and considered. In a world where everyone seems to be shouting to be heard, choosing your words carefully can actually make you stand out. When you do speak, if your words consistently reflect wisdom and insight, people are more inclined to listen and value your input. This approach not only builds respect, but also establishes you as a thoughtful leader or colleague. Lastly, respect through Stoicism is also about showing respect to others. It's a reciprocal dynamic. By demonstrating respect for others' ideas, feelings, and contributions, you foster a respectful environment. This mutual respect not only enhances personal relationships, but also creates a more positive and productive community, be it in a professional setting or personal life. Benefit 7. Live a more meaningful and simpler life. Isn't it curious how sometimes when you strip away the excess, what you're left with feels so much richer? Stoicism teaches us this very principle, that a simpler life isn't about having less, but about making room for more of what truly enriches us. It's about decluttering not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally. This philosophy encourages us to focus on our core values and priorities, trimming away the distractions that don't serve us. The Stoics, like Epictetus, believed that freedom comes from within, from our ability to control our responses to the world around us, rather than being controlled by it. By reducing our desires to the essentials and focusing on what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, our responses, we can lead lives of greater significance and tranquility. Imagine living each day with a clear sense of purpose, where your energies are spent on actions that are directly aligned with your deep-seated values. This isn't just liberating, it's deeply satisfying. In practical terms, adopting a simpler, more meaningful lifestyle means making conscious choices about where to allocate your time and energy. It involves asking yourself whether each activity or commitment is bringing you closer to your ideal life or if it's merely filling time. This could mean opting to spend more time with family instead of attending yet another networking event, or choosing to read a book that enlightens you instead of mindlessly scrolling through social media. Moreover, living simply helps us cultivate gratitude for what we have. Stoicism doesn't teach us to forsake joy or pleasure. Rather, it teaches us to find joy in the pleasure that simplicity brings. There is profound joy in appreciating the ordinary moments, a quiet morning with a cup of coffee, the laughter of a loved one, the peace of a walk in nature. When we stop chasing after more things, more achievements, more engagements, we start experiencing more of life's genuine moments. This simplicity also extends to our interactions and how we handle challenges. Stoicism equips us to face life's complexities with a calm and steady hand. By simplifying our internal world, we are better able to manage the external chaos. Challenges become less daunting because our perspective has shifted. We focus on what is within our power to change, and we let go of the rest. Remember, the journey to embracing less isn't about achieving perfection overnight. It's a gradual process of adjustment and understanding, a path that you pave as you learn what less means to you. It's about finding your own balance between action and contemplation, speaking and silence, abundance and simplicity. Each step on this path can lead to profound changes in how you view and interact with the world. Throughout our lives, we encounter myriad situations where our resolve, patience, and endurance are tested. Whether it's a career path that no longer aligns with our core values, a relationship that has run its course, or any environment that stifles our growth rather than fostering it, the question of whether to stay the course or cut our losses is a universal struggle. Think about the last time you felt stuck or conflicted about leaving a challenging situation. Was there a voice inside you suggesting it might be time to move on, yet another voice urging you to stay and fight harder? This inner conflict is not just about making a choice. It's about understanding the deeper values and principles that guide our decisions. Now let's introduce a fascinating perspective that can shed light on this topic. Stoicism. The Stoics, ancient philosophers who preached the virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, provide a powerful framework for tackling our dilemma. They taught the importance of distinguishing between what is within our control and what lies beyond it. In facing a situation where we feel powerless or diminished, Stoicism asks us to question, can we influence the outcome? If not, might our energies be better directed elsewhere? Stoicism also teaches us about the concept of preferred indifference, external things that are nice to have but not essential to our core happiness and virtue. When we agonize over whether to walk away, we often fear losing these preferred indifferences. But by anchoring ourselves in Stoic wisdom, we can view our situation with greater clarity and equanimity, focusing on our inner character and what truly matters. In today's conversation, we will delve deep into these themes, exploring how Stoic principles can help us navigate the challenging decision of when to walk away. We'll discuss how to recognize when perseverance turns into self-sabotage, how to differentiate between meaningful struggle and needless suffering, and how to embrace the liberating act of letting go when it serves our greater good. Join me on this journey of self-discovery and empowerment, where we learn to listen to our inner wisdom, align with our deepest values, and make the courageous choices that shape our destiny. If this journey of introspection and courage speaks to you, I invite you to subscribe to our channel and stay with us throughout the entire video. Every moment is crafted to inspire and empower you, and I promise you won't want to miss a single part of this transformative exploration. So grab a cup of tea, settle in, and let's start this meaningful conversation together. When we talk about walking away, what images or scenarios come to your mind? Is it quitting a job that drains your spirit day after day? Is it ending a relationship that's lost its warmth and become a source of constant pain? Or perhaps it's stepping back from a long-cherished dream that, despite your best efforts, remains frustratingly out of reach. The decision to walk away can manifest in countless aspects of our lives, each with its unique challenges and implications. Yet at the heart of these decisions is a common thread: the recognition that something fundamental is misaligned with our well-being and potential for growth. But why is making this decision so fraught with difficulty and hesitation? After all, if something consistently causes us distress or hinders our progress, wouldn't the logical choice be to leave it behind? Here's where the wisdom of Stoicism offers illuminating insights. The Stoics remind us that human beings are creatures of habit and attachment. We cling to the familiar, even when it's harmful, because it provides a sense of security and predictability. We're wired to resist change, fearing the uncertainty and loss that it might bring. Moreover, Stoicism teaches us about the value of endurance and resilience. These virtues are indeed commendable and often necessary for achieving great things. However, they can also tether us to situations that no longer serve us if we fail to apply them wisely. The Stoic principle of the dichotomy of control urges us to discern between what we can change and what we must accept. Sometimes, the bravest and most prudent action is to recognize when our efforts cannot alter the nature of an unhealthy job, a toxic relationship, or an unattainable goal. It's in these moments that walking away isn't an admission of defeat, but a testament to our understanding and courage. Yet defining the issue of when to walk away is not about prescribing a one-size-fits-all answer. It's about encouraging a deep personal inquiry into our lives. It's about asking ourselves, are we holding on to something because it truly enriches us? Or are we driven by fear, inertia, or misplaced loyalty? Are we sacrificing our peace and potential for the sake of an illusory security or a misguided sense of duty? Stoicism teaches us to focus on living in harmony with nature, which includes our own nature, understanding our emotions and responding to life's challenges with virtue and reason. But how does this relate to knowing when to walk away? At its core, Stoicism helps us differentiate between what we can control and what we cannot. It encourages us to invest our energy wisely, focusing on our actions, attitudes, and responses rather than external outcomes beyond our control. Consider a situation where you're faced with persistent unhappiness or frustration. Perhaps it's a job that conflicts with your values or a relationship that's become toxic. Stoicism would urge you to ask, can I change this situation? Do I have power over these external circumstances? If the answer is no, the philosophy would then guide you toward accepting what you cannot change and contemplating whether staying in the situation aligns with living a virtuous and contented life. Now let's weave in another Stoic concept, the idea of amor fati, or love of fate. This principle encourages us to embrace whatever life throws at us, finding the opportunity for growth and learning in every situation. However, loving our fate doesn't mean resigning ourselves to endure unnecessary suffering or clinging to situations that diminish our well-being. Instead, it's about recognizing when our struggles serve a purpose and when they merely hold us back from realizing our potential. Through a Stoic lens, walking away is not about escaping challenges or shirking responsibility. It's about making a reasoned choice to direct our lives toward what is truly good for us, which sometimes means letting go of what we cannot change to focus on what we can. It's a testament to our ability to act with wisdom and courage, honoring our nature by seeking environments and relationships that allow us to flourish. As we further explore these theoretical perspectives, we'll delve into specific Stoic teachings and how they can inform our decisions at life's crossroads. We'll discuss how embracing Stoic virtues, wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation can empower us to make choices that resonate with our deepest values and aspirations. Have you ever heard the saying, experience is the best teacher? Well, it's true. Learning from real-life situations can profoundly impact our understanding and decision-making. When we muster the courage to walk away from situations that no longer serve us, we're not just turning our backs on something, we're stepping forward into new possibilities. But what exactly are these benefits? How does walking away open up avenues for personal growth and happiness? And how does Stoicism, with its deep roots in wisdom and virtue, help us appreciate these benefits even more? Firstly, walking away can lead to a profound sense of liberation. Imagine the weight lifting off your shoulders when you finally release a burden you've been carrying, perhaps a toxic relationship, a stifling job, or an unattainable goal. This newfound freedom allows you to breathe, to realign with your core values, and to invest your energy in pursuits that truly resonate with your authentic self. Stoicism teaches us the value of freedom, not as an external condition, but as an internal state of being. By choosing to walk away, we exercise our freedom to choose our path, embodying the Stoic ideal of living in accordance with nature, our own true nature. Moreover, walking away can catalyze personal growth and self-discovery. It's often in the aftermath of a difficult departure that we learn the most about ourselves, our resilience, our values, our desires. These insights are invaluable, shaping our character and guiding our future choices. Stoicism encourages us to view every experience as an opportunity for learning and growth. Thus, when we walk away from a negative situation, we're not just escaping negativity, we're embracing the chance to develop virtues like wisdom, courage, and temperance, which are central to a well-lived life. Another significant benefit is the opportunity to cultivate healthier relationships and environments. By leaving a toxic situation, we create space for more positive and nourishing connections to enter our lives. Whether it's finding colleagues who support and inspire us, friends who uplift and understand us, or partners who respect and cherish us, Walking away sets the stage for more fulfilling interaction. In Stoicism, the concept of oikeiosis refers to the natural inclination to connect with and care for others, suggesting that fostering healthy relationships is essential to our well-being and moral development. Lastly, walking away can reaffirm our agency and self-respect. Making the decision to leave, especially in difficult circumstances, is a powerful assertion of our worth and autonomy. It's a declaration that we value ourselves enough to walk away from anything that diminishes us. Stoicism teaches us to find our self-worth not in external accolades or possessions, but in our capacity to live virtuously. By choosing to walk away from situations that conflict with our values, we honor our intrinsic dignity and cultivate a sense of inner peace and self-assurance. As we explore these benefits, I encourage you to consider them in the context of your own life. Reflect on the times you've had the courage to walk away, and how those choices have shaped your path. And if you're currently facing a crossroads, contemplate how these insights might inform your decision. Remember, walking away isn't just about what you leave behind. It's about the journey ahead, and the growth, freedom, and fulfillment that await when you choose the path that's right for you. Deciding to walk away is rarely straightforward. It's a path fraught with challenges and complexities, each demanding our courage, reflection, and discernment. But what exactly makes this decision so daunting? And how can Stoic philosophy help us navigate these turbulent waters with greater clarity and resilience? One of the foremost challenges is the emotional turmoil associated with walking away. Whether it's guilt, fear, regret, or sadness, a whirlwind of emotions can cloud our judgment and hinder our ability to make a decision aligned with our best interests. Stoicism, however, offers a valuable perspective. It teaches us to observe our emotions without being overwhelmed by them. By acknowledging our feelings and understanding their transient nature, we can make reasoned choices rather than reactive ones. The Stoics emphasize the importance of apatheia, a state of inner tranquility achieved by managing our passions and maintaining a rational perspective. This doesn't mean becoming emotionless, but rather developing the emotional resilience to face difficult decisions with composure and clarity. Another significant challenge is the fear of the unknown. Walking away often means stepping out of our comfort zone and into uncertain territory. What lies ahead? Will we regret our decision? Such questions can be paralyzing. Yet Stoicism encourages us to embrace uncertainty as an inherent part of life. It teaches us to focus on the present, doing our best with what's within our control and accepting what's beyond it. By cultivating a sense of detachment from outcomes, what the Stoics call ataraxia, or undisturbedness, we can overcome the fear of the unknown and move forward with confidence in our ability to adapt and thrive, regardless of circumstances. Moreover, societal expectations and pressures can make it difficult to walk away. We may worry about judgment from others, disappointing those we care about, or defying cultural norms. Here, Stoicism reminds us of the importance of living according to our own values and judgments, rather than being swayed by external opinions. The Stoic principle of autonomy asserts our right to govern ourselves, making decisions based on our reasoned understanding of what's good and right. By honoring our inner compass and standing firm in our convictions, we can navigate societal pressures with integrity and authenticity. Lastly, there's the challenge of letting go of what we've invested, our time, energy, emotions, or resources. This is where the Stoic concept of impermanence can guide us. Recognizing that everything is subject to change and loss helps us loosen our grip on the status quo and make peace with the necessity of moving on. It encourages us to find fulfillment not in external circumstances, but in our capacity to live virtuously, irrespective of our situation. As we consider these challenges and considerations, let's reflect on how Stoicism not only illuminates the obstacles we face, but also empowers us to confront them with wisdom, courage, and equanimity. Remember, the decision to walk away is a deeply personal and often difficult one, but by anchoring ourselves in Stoic principles, we can approach it with greater clarity, strength, and a sense of peace, knowing that it's a step toward honoring our true selves and cultivating a life of genuine flourishing. As we ponder the decision to walk away, it's essential to navigate this crossroad with both heart and mind. Making such a choice can be daunting, yet with the right guidance and a Stoic mindset, we can approach this decision with clarity and confidence. How do we then discern the right course of action, and how can Stoic wisdom illuminate this path? Let's delve into some guidance and advice that can help steer us in the right direction. Firstly, introspection is key. Take a moment to truly connect with yourself, to listen to your inner voice and identify what you truly value and desire in life. Ask yourself, does this situation align with my core values? Is it conducive to my growth and well-being? Reflecting on these questions allows us to make decisions that resonate with our authentic selves. Stoicism teaches us the virtue of self-awareness, encouraging us to know ourselves deeply and live in accordance with our nature. By aligning our choices with our values, we live with integrity and purpose, ensuring our actions are coherent with our true essence. Next, consider the concept of impermanence and the ever-changing nature of life, as highlighted by Stoicism. Acknowledge that both staying and walking away will lead to new experiences and challenges. Embrace the idea that change is an integral part of growth and development. When contemplating walking away, remind yourself that new beginnings are often hidden in endings. By accepting the flow of life, you can move forward with a sense of peace, understanding that change brings opportunities for learning and transformation. Moreover, engage in a reasoned analysis of your situation. Stoicism doesn't advocate for rash or emotion-driven decisions. Instead, it encourages us to use our faculty of reason to evaluate our circumstances logically. Consider the pros and cons, the potential outcomes, and the impacts of your decision. Seek advice from trusted individuals who can offer different perspectives, but remember, the final choice is yours. As Stoics, we are reminded of the importance of using our judgment and reason to navigate life's challenges, ensuring our decisions are well considered and rational. Another piece of Stoic advice is to prepare mentally for the consequences of your decision. Visualize the scenarios that might unfold from both staying and walking away. Practice negative visualization, a Stoic exercise where you contemplate the worst-case scenarios to reduce anxiety about the future and build resilience. By mentally preparing for various outcomes, you can fortify yourself against fear and uncertainty, embracing whatever the future holds with strength and equanimity. Lastly, commit to your decision with courage and conviction. Once you've deliberated and chosen a course of action, move forward with determination. Stoicism teaches us the value of courage, not just in facing adversity, but also in making tough decisions that align with our well-being and principles. Remember, it's normal to feel apprehensive about stepping into the unknown, but embracing this uncertainty with courage can lead to profound personal growth and fulfillment. As we draw this discussion to a close, it's important to pause and reflect on the journey we've embarked upon together. The decision to walk away, laden with complexity and emotion, is a profound testament to our human experience. It's a decision that calls for wisdom, courage, and deep self-awareness. And while the path may be fraught with uncertainty and challenges, it's also strewn with opportunities for growth, liberation, and self-discovery. In the light of Stoicism, we are reminded that our power lies in our ability to choose our responses to the external world, to align our actions with our core values, and to pursue a life marked by virtue and meaning. Stoicism doesn't just offer philosophical musings. It provides practical tools and a robust framework to live a fulfilled and resilient life. It teaches us that while we cannot control external events, we have the utmost control over our judgments, intentions. As you stand at the crossroads, considering whether to stay or to walk away, remember the Stoic virtues: wisdom, to discern the best path; courage, to follow through on your decision; justice, to consider the impact on yourself and others; temperance, to maintain balance and self-control amidst change. Embrace the Stoic practice of reflection, envisioning the kind of life you wish to lead and the person you aspire to be. Let these insights illuminate your path, whether it leads you to stay and persevere or to step into the unknown with faith in your heart and clarity in your mind. Remember, walking away is not an end, but a beginning, a chance to realign with your authentic self, to cultivate new relationships and experiences, and to grow in ways you never thought possible. As Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic emperor and philosopher, once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." If you have been wronged, or if a situation no longer serves your highest good, choose to respond not with bitterness or regret, but with strength, dignity, and a forward-looking gaze. In conclusion, whether you choose to walk away or to stay, do so with deliberation and purpose. Let your decision reflect your deepest values and aspirations, and as you move forward, carry with you the lessons of Stoicism. That peace comes from within, that we are the architects of our reality, and that every choice we make is an opportunity to cultivate virtue, resilience, and joy. It's a harsh reality, but some people in our lives take pleasure in causing harm and chaos. Think about it. You could be sharing moments, trusting someone, only to discover they are the very source of your turmoil. Today, we dive deep into a topic that's as fascinating as it is frightening. Recognizing the signs you're dealing with an evil person. Whether it's a colleague, a friend, or even a family member, these individuals can be masters of deception, hiding their true nature behind charm and charisma. Today, we're not just exploring this dark side of human behavior out of curiosity. Understanding these signs can be life-changing. The Stoics believed in the power of perception and the importance of living a life guided by reason and virtue. By identifying and understanding these toxic traits, we can protect our peace of mind and cultivate healthier relationships, staying true to the principles of wisdom and self-control. Stay with us as we uncover 5 telltale signs of an evil person. By the end of this video, you'll not only be better equipped to spot these behaviors, but also learn practical ways to safeguard your mental health and well-being. And if you appreciate what we're doing here, a simple, free favor I'll ask from you is to hit the subscribe button. Please don't skip any part of the video. You won't want to miss our special bonus section, where I'll share an effective strategy for setting firm boundaries with these individuals. Let's embark on this journey of self-awareness and resilience together. Number 1, charming and charismatic at first. When we talk about people who seem charming and charismatic at first, it's important to remember that appearances can be deceiving. These individuals often have a way of lighting up a room, making everyone around them feel special and valued. They know exactly what to say to make you feel like you've just made a new best friend. At first glance, they seem like the perfect person, witty, engaging, and seemingly interested in your life. It's easy to get swept up in their charm, thinking you've found someone truly special. However, the Stoics teach us to look beyond the surface and seek the truth through rational thought and observation. Over time, you might start to notice little cracks in their facade. Maybe they always need to be the center of attention, overshadowing others in social settings. They might talk over you, interrupt you, or even subtly put you down in front of others. These aren't just quirks or signs of an extroverted personality. They're red flags. The Stoics would advise us to observe these behaviors with a clear mind, unclouded by the initial excitement of their charisma. Imagine being at a party where this person is the life of the event, telling jokes and captivating the crowd. At first, it feels great to be in their orbit, but as the evening progresses, you realize they're dominating every conversation, making everything about themselves. When you try to share something about your life, they quickly redirect the topic back to them. This is where the principle of apatheia, a state of being undisturbed by external things, comes in handy. By staying emotionally balanced, you can see through their charming act and recognize the self-centered nature underneath. It's also crucial to pay attention to how they react when things don't go their way. A person who is genuinely kind and caring will handle disappointments and disagreements with grace and understanding. But someone who is merely playing a role to gain your trust might quickly become angry or defensive. They might lash out or try to manipulate the situation to regain control. According to Stoic wisdom, such reactions are clear indicators of a lack of virtuous character. Marcus Aurelius reminds us to be wary of those who display signs of anger and manipulation, as these are not the traits of a rational and virtuous person. The key here is to take your time and trust your instinct. The Stoics believed in the power of observation and the importance of not rushing to judgment based on first impressions. Epictetus taught that we should carefully evaluate the character of those we allow into our inner circle. So, if someone seems too good to be true, give yourself the space to observe their actions over time. Notice how they treat others, especially when they think no one is watching. True character is revealed in how a person behaves when they aren't trying to impress anyone. Remember, not everyone who seems charming and charismatic has good intentions. Some people use their charm as a tool for manipulation. By staying grounded and mindful, you can protect yourself from being taken in by a superficial facade. Stay true to the principles of wisdom and discernment, and you'll be better equipped to navigate these complex social interactions. Another crucial sign to watch out for: a lack of empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. It's what allows us to connect deeply with those around us, to offer support when it's needed, and to create meaningful relationships. However, there are individuals out there who seem to completely lack this essential human trait. They don't care about how their actions or words affect others, and this can have a devastating impact on those around them. The Stoics believed in the importance of compassion and understanding as fundamental virtues. Marcus Aurelius often spoke about the interconnectedness of humanity and the need to consider the well-being of others as part of our own well-being. So, when we encounter someone who shows a blatant disregard for the feelings of others, it's a serious red flag. Imagine you're sharing something deeply personal with a friend, hoping for some comfort or understanding. Instead of showing any genuine concern, they brush off your feelings or even mock your vulnerability. This lack of empathy can make you feel isolated and misunderstood. It's not just about them not being there for you in tough times. It's also about them failing to share in your joy or celebrate your successes. A person who lacks empathy won't cheer for your achievements. They might even undermine them or take credit themselves. This behavior is not just limited to personal relationships. Consider a boss who pushes their employees to the brink, showing no concern for their well-being. They might demand long hours without fair compensation, ignore requests for time off, or publicly criticize employees in a way that's meant to humiliate rather than constructively guide. This creates a toxic work environment where people feel undervalued and stressed. The Stoics would advise us to maintain our inner peace and integrity in such situations, recognizing that the lack of empathy in others is a reflection of their character, not ours. Furthermore, a lack of empathy can lead to more sinister behaviors. People who cannot empathize with others may engage in actions that are outright cruel or without any sense of guilt or remorse. They might lie, cheat, or even inflict physical harm without a second thought about the pain they're causing. The Stoic philosopher Seneca emphasized the importance of kindness and justice, teaching that our actions should always reflect our inner virtue. When someone lacks empathy, they're fundamentally disconnected from these values. Lack of empathy is also evident in smaller, everyday interactions. For example, you might notice that someone constantly interrupts conversations to talk about themselves, shows little interest in what others have to say, or fails to offer help when it's clearly needed. These might seem like minor annoyances at first, but they add up to a pattern of behavior that reveals a deeper issue. The Stoics would remind us to be observant and discerning. understanding that these small signs are indicative of a person's true character. If you find yourself dealing with someone who consistently lacks empathy, it's important to set boundaries to protect your own mental and emotional health. The Stoics believed in the importance of maintaining our own well-being and not allowing the negativity of others to disturb our peace. You have the right to distance yourself from those who drain your energy and bring you down. Another major sign of an evil person is manipulation. Manipulation occurs when someone uses deceit or cunning tactics to control or influence others to get what they want. It's a subtle, often insidious behavior that can be incredibly damaging to those on the receiving end. Manipulators are skilled at twisting situations, making you question your reality and bending your will to suit their needs. This can leave you feeling confused, powerless, and unsure of your own judgments. Let's think about manipulation from a Stoic perspective. The Stoics valued clarity of thought and the ability to see things as they truly are. They taught that our perceptions should be grounded in reality and that we should remain steadfast in our principles, no matter the external pressures. When someone manipulates you, they are attempting to cloud your perception and distort reality, making it difficult for you to stay true to these Stoic ideals. The common form of manipulation is gaslighting, where the manipulator tries to make you doubt your own memory, perception, or sanity. They might deny that certain events happened, or they might twist your words and actions to make you feel at fault. For example, let's say you confront a friend about something hurtful they said. Instead of acknowledging it, they might turn the tables, accusing you of being overly sensitive or misremembering the situation. This can erode your confidence and make you reliant on the manipulator's version of reality. Manipulators are also adept at playing the victim. They might guilt-trip you into doing things you don't want to do by making you feel responsible for their happiness or well-being. You might have a friend who constantly complains about their problems, expecting you to drop everything to help them, yet they are never there for you in return. They might say things like, "If you were really my friend, you'd do this for me," making you feel obligated to comply. The Stoics, especially Epictetus, emphasize the importance of understanding what is within our control and what is not. We cannot control others' actions or emotions, only our response to them. Consider how a manipulator might use flattery or charm to get their way. At first, this can feel great. They might shower you with compliments and make you feel special. But over time, you might notice that their praise comes with strings attached. They might compliment you when they want something from you, or when they need you to do something for them. This can make you feel like you owe them, or that you need to live up to their expectations to maintain their approval. The Stoics would remind us that true virtue and self-worth come from within, not from the fleeting approval of others. Manipulation can also take the form of isolation. A manipulative person might try to cut you off from your friends and family, making you more dependent on them. They might say things like, "Your friends don't really care about you," or "Your family doesn't understand you like I do." This tactic makes it easier for them to control you because you become more reliant on them for support and validation. The Stoics believed in maintaining strong, supportive relationships with others, recognizing that we are social beings who thrive in community. Isolation goes against these principles, as it weakens our support network and makes us more vulnerable to manipulation. Financial manipulation is another tactic used by evil people. They might borrow money, never repay it, or they might control your finances to limit your independence. For instance, a partner might insist on managing all the money in the relationship, making you ask for permission to spend anything. This control over finances can make it difficult for you to leave the relationship or assert your independence. The Stoics would encourage us to seek self-sufficiency and independence, ensuring that we are not unduly influenced or controlled by others. Recognizing manipulation for what it is can be challenging, especially when you care about the person involved. The Stoics teach us to be vigilant and discerning, to see things clearly and to act with integrity. If you suspect someone is manipulating you, take a step back and assess the situation objectively. Are they consistently prioritizing their needs over yours? Do they make you feel guilty or unsure of yourself? Are they trying to control aspects of your life or isolate you from others? It's important to set firm boundaries with manipulators and stand your ground. Communicate clearly and assertively about what you will and will not tolerate. Remember, you have the right to your own thoughts, feelings, and actions. The Stoics remind us that while we cannot control how others behave, we can control how we respond. By maintaining our inner strength and clarity, we can protect ourselves from the harmful effects of manipulation and stay true to our values. One of the most glaring signs of an evil person: controlling behavior. This goes beyond mere preferences or quirks. It's about someone who seeks to dominate every aspect of your life, leaving little room for your own autonomy and decisions. Controlling individuals often disguise their behavior as concern or care, but underneath, it's about power and control. The Stoics, who valued personal freedom and self-control, would see this behavior as fundamentally opposed to living a virtuous life. Controlling behavior can manifest in many ways. For instance, you might have a friend who insists on always choosing where you go and what you do together. While it might seem harmless at first, over time you start to realize that your preferences and opinions are consistently ignored or overridden. They might say things like, "I know what's best for us," or "You'll have more fun if you just listen to me." This isn't about mutual decision-making. It's about one person exerting their will over another. In relationships, controlling behavior can become even more dangerous. A partner might monitor your whereabouts, demand constant updates on your activities, and even dictate who you can and cannot see. They might go through your phone, check your messages, or insist on knowing all your passwords. This kind of surveillance and micromanagement can make you feel trapped and anxious, constantly walking on eggshells to avoid conflict. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, emphasize the importance of maintaining your own inner freedom and autonomy, regardless of external pressures. Control can also come in the form of financial manipulation. A controlling partner or family member might take charge of all financial decisions, doling out money as they see fit, and keeping you financially dependent on them. They might say, "I handle the money because you're not good with finances." Or, "It's easier if I just take care of everything." This can strip you of your financial independence and make it difficult to leave the relationship or assert your own choices. The Stoics believed in self-sufficiency and managing your own resources wisely, viewing financial control as a form of enslavement that must be resisted. Another way controlling behavior shows up is through isolation. A controlling person might try to cut you off from friends and family, claiming that they're the only one who truly understands or cares about you. They might criticize your loved ones, saying things like, "Your friends don't really care about you," or "Your family is toxic." Over time, you might find yourself increasingly isolated, relying solely on the controlling person for support and companionship. The Stoics recognize the importance of community and supportive relationships, seeing isolation as detrimental to both personal growth and well-being. Controlling individuals also often use threats and intimidation to maintain their power. They might threaten to leave you, harm themselves, or even hurt you if you don't comply with their demands. This creates an environment of fear and anxiety, making it difficult to think clearly or make decisions that are best for you. The Stoics, especially Seneca, taught that we should face our fears and not allow others to intimidate us into submission. True courage and wisdom lie in standing firm against such threats and reclaiming our own power. It's important to understand that controlling behavior is about more than just wanting things done a certain way. It's about fundamentally undermining your ability to make your own choices and live your own life. The Stoics would advise us to recognize these behaviors for what they are: an attack on our autonomy and a violation of our personal freedom. By staying true to our values and maintaining our inner strength, we can resist the influence of controlling individuals and reclaim our right to live freely. If you find yourself dealing with someone who exhibits controlling behavior, it's crucial to set firm boundaries and assert your independence. Communicate clearly about your needs and limits, and don't be afraid to seek support from others who understand your situation. Remember, the Stoics teach us that we cannot control others, but we can control our own reactions and decisions. By staying grounded in our principles and valuing our own autonomy, we can protect ourselves from the harmful effects of controlling behavior and live more authentic, fulfilling lives. Another unmistakable sign of an evil person is pathological lying. This goes beyond the occasional white lie that most people tell. Pathological liars deceive constantly, often without any apparent reason. They fabricate stories, manipulate facts, and distort reality to suit their own needs or to gain an advantage over others. This behavior can be incredibly damaging to relationships, eroding trust and creating a web of deceit that's difficult to untangle. The Stoics valued truth and integrity above all else. They believed that a virtuous life was grounded in honesty and that deceit was a fundamental betrayal of one's character. Marcus Aurelius emphasized living in accordance with nature, which means aligning our actions with truth and reason. When someone lies pathologically, they are living in direct opposition to these principles, creating a false reality that benefits only themselves. Pathological lying can take many forms. It might start with small, seemingly harmless lies, like embellishing a story to make themselves look better or more interesting. Over time, these lies can escalate, covering up mistakes or wrongdoings and manipulating others to achieve their goals. A pathological liar might claim to have accomplished things they haven't, falsely take credit for others' work, or make up stories about their past to gain sympathy or admiration. This constant dishonesty creates a distorted view of reality where you can never be sure what's true and what's fabricated. Consider how a pathological liar might operate in a workplace. They might lie about their qualifications, exaggerate their contributions to projects, or spread false rumors about colleagues to sabotage them. This can create a toxic environment where trust is undermined, and people are constantly on edge, unsure of who to believe. The Stoics would advise us to remain steadfast in our own integrity, not allowing ourselves to be swayed by the deceitful actions of others. Epictetus taught that we should focus on what we can control, our own thoughts and actions, and not be disturbed by the dishonesty of those around us. In personal relationships, pathological lying can be even more destructive. Imagine being in a relationship with someone who constantly lies about their whereabouts, their past, or their feelings. This behavior can make you feel insecure, anxious, and constantly questioning your own perceptions. You might find yourself doubting your memory or second-guessing your instincts, which is exactly what the liar wants. They thrive on creating confusion and instability, keeping you off balance so they can maintain control. The Stoics would remind us to trust our own judgment and not be swayed by the manipulations of others. Seneca taught that true peace comes from within, and that we should not allow the deceit of others to disturb our inner tranquility. One of the most insidious aspects of pathological lying is that it's often difficult to detect at first. Pathological liars can be incredibly convincing, telling their lies with such confidence and detail that it's hard not to believe them. They might mix truth with lies, making it even more challenging to discern what's real. This is where the Stoic principle of vigilance comes into play. We must remain observant and critical, not taking things at face value, but instead seeking the truth through careful consideration and evidence. When you catch someone in a lie, pay attention to how they react. Do they become defensive or aggressive? Do they try to turn the tables and blame you? Or do they offer a plausible explanation that seems to make sense, even if it's just another layer of deceit? A genuine person will admit to their mistakes and strive to correct them, while a pathological liar will double down on their falsehoods, weaving an even more intricate web of lies. The Stoics would counsel us to remain calm and rational in the face of such behavior, recognizing it for what it is and not allowing it to provoke us. It's also important to consider the long-term impact of pathological lying. Over time, it can erode the very foundation of trust that any relationship is built upon. Once trust is broken, it's incredibly difficult to rebuild. You might find yourself constantly suspicious, always wondering if you're being lied to again. This can lead to a toxic cycle of mistrust and resentment. The Stoics believed in the importance of building strong, honest relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. When dealing with a pathological liar, you must decide whether it's worth trying to rebuild that trust, or whether it's healthier to distance yourself from their toxic influence. If you find yourself entangled with a pathological liar, it's crucial to set firm boundaries and protect your own mental and emotional well-being. The Stoics would advise us to remain true to our own values and principles, not allowing ourselves to be dragged down by the deceit of others. Be clear about what you will and will not tolerate, and don't be afraid to walk away from a relationship or situation that is built on lies. Remember, your peace of mind and integrity are more important than maintaining a connection with someone who consistently deceives you. Now, how can you protect yourself from these harmful behaviors while maintaining your peace and integrity? Setting boundaries is one of the most crucial skills you can develop when dealing with difficult or toxic people. Boundaries are about defining what you will and will not accept in your relationships, and they are essential for protecting your mental, emotional, and even physical well-being. The Stoics, who emphasized the importance of personal integrity and inner peace, would see boundary setting as a fundamental practice for maintaining a virtuous and tranquil life. First and foremost, it's important to recognize that setting boundaries is not about being harsh or unkind. It's about respecting yourself and ensuring that others respect you as well. The Stoics believed in the importance of self-respect and living in harmony with our true nature. By setting clear boundaries, you are not only protecting yourself, but also fostering healthier interactions with others. When it comes to setting boundaries, clarity is key. You need to be specific about what behaviors you will not tolerate and communicate this clearly and assertively. For example, if you have a friend who frequently belittles you or puts you down, you might say, "I appreciate our friendship, but I won't tolerate being spoken to in a disrespectful manner. If this continues, I will have to distance myself." This approach is direct and leaves no room for misinterpretation. According to Stoic principles, this kind of clear communication helps maintain order and respect in relationships. Another important aspect of setting boundaries is consistency. It's not enough to state your boundaries once and expect others to adhere to them without reminders. You must consistently enforce your boundaries, even when it's uncomfortable or difficult. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, emphasized the importance of discipline and perseverance. By consistently upholding your boundaries, you demonstrate self-respect and teach others how to treat you. If someone repeatedly crosses your boundaries, it's a clear sign that they do not respect you or your limits, and it may be necessary to reassess the relationship. It's also important to remember that setting boundaries is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. As relationships evolve, your boundaries may need to be adjusted. For instance, in a work environment, you might need to set boundaries around your availability and workload to prevent burnout. You could say to a colleague or supervisor, "I am happy to help with this project, but I cannot take on additional tasks beyond my current responsibilities. The Stoics would advise us to balance our duties and not overextend ourselves to the detriment of our well-being. One of the most challenging aspects of setting boundaries is dealing with the pushback or resistance you might encounter. People who are used to getting their way, especially those with controlling or manipulative tendencies, may not take kindly to your newfound assertiveness. They might react with anger, guilt-tripping, or even attempts to undermine your confidence. The Stoics teach us to remain calm and steadfast in the face of such challenges. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the importance of maintaining our composure and not being swayed by the negative emotions of others. When you encounter resistance, stay firm and remind yourself that your boundaries are necessary for your well-being. In some cases, setting boundaries might mean making difficult decisions, such as distancing yourself from certain individuals or even ending relationships that are toxic or harmful. This can be a painful process, but it's essential for preserving your mental and emotional health. The Stoics would remind us that our primary responsibility is to our own virtue and well-being. Seneca often spoke about the importance of choosing our associations wisely, recognizing that the company we keep can significantly impact our character and happiness. By distancing yourself from those who consistently violate your boundaries, you are making a powerful statement about your self-worth and commitment to living a virtuous life. It's also helpful to seek support from others when setting boundaries. This could mean talking to trusted friends, family members, or a therapist about your experiences and getting their input and encouragement. Sharing your struggles and successes with boundary setting can provide you with valuable perspective and strengthen your resolve. The Stoics valued community and the support of like-minded individuals. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the interconnectedness of humanity and the importance of mutual support. By leaning on your support network, you can find the strength to uphold your boundaries and maintain your well-being. In addition, practicing self-care is crucial when setting and maintaining boundaries. This includes taking time for yourself, engaging in activities that bring you joy and relaxation, and nurturing your physical and mental health. The Stoics believed in the importance of self-care as a foundation for a virtuous life. Epictetus, for example, emphasized the need to care for our own well-being so that we can be of service to others and fulfill our responsibilities effectively. By prioritizing self-care, you reinforce the message that your well-being is important and deserving of protection. Did you know that the secret to transforming your life's biggest challenges into your greatest opportunities might have been discovered over 2,000 years ago? Imagine facing life's storms with a calm so powerful that nothing could shake your inner peace. Sounds like a superpower, right? Well, it's not just a fantasy. This ancient superpower is an age-old philosophy that's as practical today as it was in the bustling markets and marble halls of ancient Rome and Greece. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't control every aspect of our lives, we have absolute power over how we choose to react. And in today's world, where uncertainty seems to be the only certainty, these teachings could be the anchor we've all been searching for. So, whether you're dealing with stress, facing adversity, or simply looking to find more joy in the everyday, stick around. Today, we're diving deep into Stoicism, uncovering its timeless wisdom and discovering how it can transform not just the way we think, but the way we live. 1. Focusing on what's in your control. Have you ever found yourself stuck in traffic, fuming over the delay, or scrolling through your phone only to get upset over a negative comment someone left on your post? It happens to the best of us. It's almost like our day-to-day life is filled with these little tests, challenging our mood and peace of mind at every turn. But here's a game-changing perspective from the world of Stoicism that can turn all that frustration on its head. Stoicism, this incredible philosophy that dates back to ancient Greece and Rome, hands us a powerful tool, focusing on what's in our control. The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Think about that for a second. Traffic, bad weather, negative comments, these are all outside our control. We can't change them, no matter how much we wish we could. What we can change, however, is how we react to them. This idea isn't just ancient wisdom, it's backed by modern psychology too. Carl Jung, a giant in the field of psychology, famously stated, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." This aligns perfectly with this practice. It's about recognizing that the only real power we have is over our own reactions, thoughts, and actions. Let's break it down a bit. Say you're in that traffic jam, late for an important meeting. You can spend that time stewing in anger, honking your horn, and stressing out, which, let's be honest, won't make the cars ahead move any faster. Or you can take a deep breath, accept the situation, and maybe use the time to listen to a podcast, an audiobook, or simply enjoy some music. The traffic hasn't changed, but your response to it has. And with that shift, your stress levels drop, and your day looks a bit brighter. This principle of focusing on what you can control extends far beyond just dealing with traffic or weather. It applies to our personal goals, our reactions to others, and our approach to obstacles in life. As Marcus Aurelius, another Stoic heavyweight, reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." So, next time you find yourself getting worked up over something outside your control, remember these wise words from our friends. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If it's not, let it go. Focus on your reaction, your mindset, and your actions. This simple shift can have a profound impact on your stress levels and overall happiness. It's not always easy, but it's worth practicing every day. Remember, it's about progress, not perfection. And as we learn to focus more on what's in our control, we'll find ourselves not just surviving life's challenges, but thriving in spite of them. 2. Embracing obstacles as opportunities. Stoicism teaches us the art of embracing obstacles as opportunities. It sounds counterintuitive, right? Most of us are programmed to view obstacles as just that, barriers to our success and happiness. But Stoics like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus flip this narrative on its head. They tell us, when life throws you a curveball, instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What can I learn?" This is a game changer. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, penned in his personal writings, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." What he means here is that every obstacle, no matter how daunting, not only tests our resilience, but also teaches us valuable lessons. It's about finding the silver lining in tough situations and using it to fuel our growth. This perspective isn't just ancient philosophy, it's backed by modern thinkers too. The famous psychologist Carl Jung said, "What you resist persists." By fighting against obstacles, we give them more power over us. But by accepting and learning from them, we can overcome them. This mindset is about transforming challenges into stepping stones towards becoming stronger and wiser. Let's make it practical. Say you're facing rejection from job applications. It's easy to fall into a spiral of self-pity and doubt. But what if you viewed each rejection as feedback? Maybe there's a skill you need to improve, or a new strategy for your job search. That shift in perspective can turn a series of rejections into a path for professional development. Another example is personal conflicts. They're uncomfortable and stressful, but they also offer a chance to practice patience, empathy, and communication skills. Every disagreement is an opportunity to understand different viewpoints and refine our conflict resolution abilities. The essence of embracing obstacles as opportunities lies in asking ourselves, what can this situation teach me? Instead of being passive victims of circumstance, we become active learners and problem solvers. This doesn't mean that facing obstacles becomes easy, but it does mean that we approach them with a mindset geared toward growth and learning. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is the heart of Stoicism. It's about seeing beyond the immediate pain or frustration of an obstacle and finding the lessons and opportunities it presents. So, when you're faced with a challenge, big or small, try to pause and reframe it. Ask yourself what you can learn from the situation and how it can make you stronger and wiser. Remember, obstacles aren't just hurdles to overcome, they're opportunities to grow. By adopting this mindset, we can navigate life's ups and downs with more grace, resilience, and wisdom. 3. Living in the present moment. It's something we hear about all the time, right? Live in the now. But what does that really mean, and why is it so important? Living in the present moment is about fully embracing and experiencing where you are at this very second, not letting your mind wander off to the worries of tomorrow or the regrets of yesterday. It's about realizing that life, with all its beauty, challenges, and surprises, happens in the now. This concept isn't new. It's been a cornerstone of philosophy, echoed by great minds like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, and reiterated by modern psychologists and thinkers. Let's start with the Stoics. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment." He understood that the power of living in the present lies in its ability to ground us, to clear our minds of distractions, and to allow us to appreciate the richness of life as it unfolds. But why is it so hard to stay present? Our minds are often cluttered with thoughts, worries about what's next, or replaying things that have already happened. This constant mental noise pulls us away from the beauty and potential of the here and now. As the famous psychologist Carl Jung put it, the least of things with a meaning is worth more in life than the greatest of things without it. Living in the present moment gives meaning to the small, everyday experiences, enriching our lives beyond measure. Aristotle talked about the importance of being mindful of the present to achieve eudaimonia, or a state of being happy, healthy, and prosperous. He believed that by focusing on the here and now, we could live a virtuous life, making the most of our human experience. So, how can we practice living in the present? It starts with mindfulness. The art of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. When you eat, savor each bite. When you walk, notice the feeling of the ground under your feet. Listen actively when someone is speaking to you, instead of planning what you're going to say next. These simple acts of mindfulness bring us back to the present, making our lives richer and more meaningful. Seneca offered this wisdom. True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. He understood that anxiety about what's to come or what has been only serves to diminish our happiness in the now. Living in the present isn't about ignoring the future or forgetting the past. It's about finding a balance where we learn from our past and plan for our future, without letting those activities consume our present. It's in this balance that we find peace and contentment. Remember, every moment is an opportunity to reset and refocus on the now. It's in the present that we live, love, and make memories. So, let's make a conscious effort to be more present in our lives. Let's cherish the now, for this moment, right here, is where life truly happens. 4. Building self-discipline. I know the word self-discipline might bring to mind images of rigid schedules and a life devoid of fun, but let's reshape that picture together. Self-discipline is not about restricting your life. It's about empowering yourself to make choices that align with your deepest values and long-term aspirations. It's choosing what's right for you, not what's easy in the moment. At its core, building self-discipline is about mastery over ourselves. It's about saying yes to things that serve us and no to things that don't, even when it's tough. Think about it, whether it's sticking to a workout routine, saving money instead of impulse buying, or turning off Netflix to focus on a project. These choices might not deliver instant gratification, but they pave the way for long-term satisfaction and success. Stoic philosophy has a lot to say about self-discipline. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This powerful statement highlights the essence of self-discipline. It's about controlling our impulses, emotions, and actions despite the external temptations and distractions that life throws our way. Seneca offers wisdom on the subject too. He advises us to be steadfast and control our desires, rather than being controlled by them. He understood that true freedom comes from within, from our ability to govern ourselves and our appetites. But why is self-discipline so critical? Aristotle, the ancient Greek philosopher, sheds light on this. He believed that we achieve excellence and virtue through habit. By practicing self-discipline, we cultivate habits that lead us toward our best selves. It's not about occasional acts of willpower, but about consistently making choices that reflect our values and goals. Building self-discipline also ties into modern psychological understanding. Carl Jung, a pioneer in psychology, emphasized the importance of integrating all aspects of our personality to live fully. This integration requires self-discipline, as we must navigate the desires of different parts of our psyche, choosing paths that contribute to our overall well-being and growth. So, how can we build self-discipline in our daily lives? Start small. Pick one area you want to improve, whether it's your diet, exercise routine, or spending habits. Set clear, achievable goals and take it one day at a time. Remember, every time you make a choice that aligns with your goals, you're building the muscle of self-discipline. Epictetus reminds us, no great thing is created suddenly. Self-discipline is built through small, consistent actions. It's about progress, not perfection. Every day presents new opportunities to practice self-discipline, to choose actions that move us closer to who we want to be. Building self-discipline is a journey. It's about finding balance between what we want now and what we want most. It's about making choices that might be hard in the moment, but will bring us closer to our goals, happiness, and peace in the long run. Oh, let's commit to this journey together, supporting one another and choosing what's right, not what's easy. Remember, in the realm of self-discipline lies the path to achieving our dreams and living in the life we truly love. 5. Developing emotional resilience. When life throws its curveballs, we all experience a whirlwind of emotions. Feeling angry, sad, or frustrated is a natural part of being human. But here's the kicker. It's not just about the emotions we feel. It's about how we handle them. That's where the magic of emotional resilience comes in. Emotional resilience is like this superpower that allows us to navigate through life's storms with grace and come out stronger on the other side. It's about acknowledging our emotions, understanding them, and then taking positive steps to move forward, rather than being swept away by the tide of our feelings. The Stoics had a lot to say about this. Marcus Aurelius, for example, reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This profound insight touches the essence of emotional resilience. It's about recognizing that while we might not have control over what happens to us, we have control over how we respond. Our emotions don't have to control our actions. Seneca offers wisdom on facing adversity without losing our composure. He teaches that life's hardships are tests of our character and resilience. By facing our feelings with understanding and patience, we can grow wiser and more robust. But how do we develop this emotional resilience? It starts with self-awareness. Being mindful of our emotions and reactions helps us understand ourselves better. It's okay to feel what we're feeling, but instead of reacting impulsively, we can choose to respond in a way that aligns with our values and long-term well-being. But how do we develop this emotional resilience? It starts with self-awareness. Being mindful of our emotions and reactions helps us understand ourselves better. It's okay to feel what we're feeling, but instead of reacting impulsively, we can choose to respond in a way that aligns with our values and long-term well-being. Aristotle spoke about the golden mean, finding the balance between excess and efficiency. This concept applies beautifully to emotional resilience. It's about finding a balanced response to our emotions, not suppressing them or letting them overpower us. Carl Jung, a pioneer in psychology, emphasized the importance of integrating all aspects of our psyche to achieve wholeness. Part of this process involves confronting our emotions, understanding them, and learning from them. This is at the heart of developing emotional resilience. So, what can you do when you're in the grip of strong emotions? First, give yourself permission to feel. Acknowledge your emotions without judgment. Then, take a step back and try to understand what triggered these feelings. This reflection can provide valuable insights into your emotional patterns and triggers. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is a powerful reminder that our reactions to our emotions can shape our experiences. Instead of being reactive, we can choose to respond in a way that is constructive and healing. Developing emotional resilience is a journey. It involves practicing mindfulness, self-reflection, and patience. It's about building a toolkit of coping strategies, like journaling, talking to a trusted friend, or practicing relaxation techniques. Most importantly, it's about treating yourself with kindness and compassion as you navigate through your emotions. Emotional resilience is not about never feeling negative emotions. It's about learning to ride the waves of those emotions with grace and coming out on the other side stronger and more self-aware. By developing emotional resilience, we empower ourselves to face life's challenges with courage and poise. Let's embrace this journey together, supporting each other and becoming more emotionally resilient, and ultimately living a more fulfilling life. 6. Memento mori. Remember, you will pass away. The Stoics used this concept not to create fear, but to inspire a deeper appreciation for every moment. They believed that by keeping the inevitability of death in mind, we would live more fully, consciously, and with gratitude for the present. Marcus Aurelius in his meditations often reflected on the transience of life, encouraging us to live in a way that's true to our values and to make the most of the time we're given. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think, he wrote. This isn't about being morose. It's a call to action, a reminder to focus on what truly matters, to let go of petty concerns, and to live with purpose and integrity. Seneca, too, spoke about the shortness of life, urging us not to waste time on trivialities, but to focus on creating a meaningful existence. He believed that being mindful of death encourages us to live more wisely and to cherish our relationships and experiences. Epictetus emphasized the importance of focusing on the present and making the best use of our time. By remembering that we won't live forever, we're more likely to live ethically and to appreciate the beauty and richness of life. How can we incorporate memento mori into our own lives without it feeling like a dark cloud over our heads? It starts with shifting our perspective. Instead of seeing the awareness of death as something fearful, we can view it as a powerful motivator to live our lives to the fullest. It's about embracing the present, not postponing our dreams or happiness for some undefined future that's not guaranteed. Think about the things you've been putting off. Maybe it's pursuing a passion, reconnecting with loved ones, or simply taking time to appreciate the small joys of everyday life. Memento mori reminds us not to take our time for granted. It encourages us to live more authentically, to say what we mean, to love openly, and to be present in our lives. This concept also teaches us to appreciate the impermanence of life, which in turn deepens our gratitude for the moments we have. When we remember that our time is limited, we're more likely to cherish our experiences, to live more mindfully, and to express our gratitude for the people and moments that enrich our lives. So, let's use memento mori, not as a source of fear, but as a catalyst for growth, gratitude, and a deeper appreciation of life. Let it remind us to make choices that align with our deepest values, to cherish our relationships, and to savor the beauty of the present moment. Remembering that we will die one day encourages us to live more fully today. In embracing memento mori, we find a powerful reminder to live, not in fear of death, but in celebration of life. Let's make every moment count, not because we're afraid of its end, but because we're in love with life itself. Let's live in a way that, when our time does come, we can look back with no regrets, knowing we lived fully, loved deeply, and appreciated the incredible journey that life is. 7. Practicing gratitude. It's fascinating how such a simple concept can profoundly impact our lives. Gratitude is about shifting our focus to what we have, rather than dwelling on what we're missing. This practice can be a real game changer, especially on those days that feel like an uphill battle. The Stoics, wise as they were, had a lot to say about gratitude. They believed that happiness doesn't come from having more, but from appreciating what we already have. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the importance of focusing on the present and finding joy in the simple things. He said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." This is gratitude in its purest form, recognizing the value of life itself and the many gifts it offers us each day. Seneca talked about how our desires can lead us astray, always chasing after more and never finding true satisfaction. He suggested that by focusing on what we have and understanding that the best things in life are already within our grasp, we can find real contentment. Epictetus, known for his followers to appreciate their current circumstances, whatever they might be, he believed that by accepting and finding value in our present situation, we could live a more fulfilled life. But how do we practice gratitude, especially when life throws curveballs our way? It starts with making it a daily habit. Each morning or evening, take a moment to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. It could be as simple as a warm cup of coffee, a conversation with a friend, or the beauty of a sunset. This practice helps rewire our brains to focus on the positive, boosting our mood and overall outlook on life. Gratitude also means embracing challenges and finding lessons within them. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can ask, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in perspective helps us appreciate our experiences, both good and bad, as valuable steps on our journey. Moreover, practicing gratitude helps us build stronger connections with others. By expressing appreciation for the people in our lives, we not only brighten their day, but also strengthen our own resilience. A simple thank you can go a long way in showing someone that they're valued and loved. Aristotle spoke about the importance of recognizing the good in our lives and striving for a virtuous life. He believed that gratitude was key to achieving eudaimonia, or true happiness, as it allows us to appreciate the goodness around us and within ourselves. Even modern psychology supports the benefits of gratitude. Studies show that people who practice gratitude regularly experience less anxiety, sleep better, and have a more positive outlook on life. As Carl Jung said, the word happiness would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. By acknowledging and being grateful for the full spectrum of our experiences, we find a deeper, more authentic form of happiness. So let's make gratitude a cornerstone of our daily lives. Let's celebrate the small victories, cherish the moments of connection, and find joy in the simple pleasures. By focusing on what we have, not on what we're missing, we can cultivate a sense of abundance and happiness that shines from within. Remember, it's not happiness that brings us gratitude. It's gratitude that brings us happiness. Let's fill our glasses half full, raise them high, and toast to the beauty of gratitude in our lives. Cheers to finding the silver lining, even on the cloudiest of days. 8. Focusing on personal excellence. The Stoics had a profound understanding of personal excellence. They believed that excellence, or virtue, is the sole good, and that everything we do should aim toward living a virtuous life. Marcus Aurelius, for instance, is a prime example of someone who strived for personal excellence. He once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This simple yet powerful statement encapsulates the essence of personal excellence. It's about embodying the values we admire and striving to live by them every day. Seneca emphasized the importance of self-improvement and continuous learning. He advocated for a life lived in accordance with nature and reason, suggesting that true excellence comes from within and is reflected in our actions and choices. Epictetus highlighted the role of personal responsibility in achieving excellence. He taught that our reactions, emotions, and will are within our control, and mastering them is key to living a life of virtue. But what does focusing on personal excellence look like in our day-to-day lives? It starts with setting personal standards based on our values and aspirations, not on societal expectations or the achievements of others. It's about knowing who we are, understanding our strengths and weaknesses, and taking consistent steps toward improvement. Personal excellence is also about resilience. It's about how we respond to setbacks and failures, not just our successes. As Aristotle said, excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. This means embracing challenges as opportunities to learn and grow, rather than seeing them as obstacles. Moreover, focusing on personal excellence involves cultivating a growth mindset, a concept championed by modern psychology. It's the belief that our abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work. This mindset encourages us to embrace challenges, persist in the face of setbacks, and see effort as a path to mastery. Personal excellence also means living authentically. It's about being true to ourselves and our values, even when it's not easy. It's about making choices that reflect who we are and who we want to be, and taking pride in our journey, including both the struggles and the triumphs. Practicing gratitude, as we discussed earlier, ties into personal excellence too. By appreciating what we have and where we are on our journey, we foster a positive outlook that supports our growth and well-being. So let's commit to focusing on personal excellence. Let's set our own standards, embrace our unique paths, and take pride in our progress. Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about being proud of who we are and how we live. It's about celebrating our efforts, learning from our experiences, and always striving to be the best versions of ourselves. Together, let's make personal excellence not just a goal, but a way of life. 9. Not caring what others think. In a world saturated with social media, where likes, follows, and comments often dictate self-worth, it's easy to fall into the trap of valuing ourselves through the lens of others' opinions. But here's a liberating truth. Your worth isn't based on external validation. It's about being true to yourself, embracing your authenticity, and living in alignment with your values. The Stoics, those ancient philosophers we often turn to for timeless wisdom, had much to say about this. They taught that our inner peace and freedom come from focusing on what's within our control, our actions, our thoughts, and our integrity, not the ever-changing opinions of others. Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, "I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinions of others." This striking observation highlights a paradox many of us live with, valuing others' judgments over our own self-assessment. Seneca echoed this sentiment by emphasizing the importance of living a life true to one's self, not one shaped by the expectations or approval of others. He believed that true contentment comes from within, from living a life that aligns with our principles and values. Epictetus taught that worrying about others' opinions is outside our control and therefore not worth our energy. He encouraged focusing instead on our own actions and on living virtuously, as that's where our true power lies. So, how can we start caring less about what others think and more about being true to ourselves? First, understand that you are the author of your life story. You have the power to define your worth, not society, not your social media followers, nor the people around you. Ground your self-esteem in who you are, the values you stand for, the kindness you spread, and the effort you put into being your best self. Second, practice self-reflection. Ask yourself, whose life am I living? Am I making choices based on my desires, or am I trying to fit into someone else's mold? Reflecting on these questions can help realign your actions with your true self. Third, embrace vulnerability. Being true to yourself means being open about your flaws and all, understanding that we are reflections of our progress, making mistakes and learning from them. This authenticity attracts the right people into your life, those who appreciate the real you. Moreover, remember the words of Aristotle, who spoke about the golden mean, finding balance in life. Applying this to our concern for others' opinions means finding a healthy balance between considering constructive feedback and maintaining our autonomy and self-worth. Incorporating a Stoic mindset into our lives means understanding that our worth is determined by our virtues, our actions, and our commitment to living a meaningful life, not by external accolades or approval. It's about building a strong inner fortress that remains unshaken by the fleeting opinions of others. Let's commit to valuing ourselves for who we truly are, not for the likes, follows, or approval we receive. Let's be courageous in our authenticity, living lives that resonate with our deepest truths. Remember, your worth is inherent and unique. By being true to yourself, you shine your light in the most genuine way possible. Let's not just navigate life, but thrive in it, with the confidence that comes from knowing we are living authentically, aligned with our values, and true to ourselves. 10. Accepting change. Here's the thing, accepting change is not just necessary, it's vital for our growth and happiness. The reality is, the only constant in life is change. Learning to go with the flow, and embrace life's inevitable shifts makes navigating them less scary and more of an adventure. The Stoics had an incredibly healthy perspective on change. They saw it as a natural part of the universe's rhythm. Marcus Aurelius said, "Accept whatever comes to you, woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs?" This profound acceptance of change as part of life's fabric helps us understand that each change, whether we perceive it as good or bad, has its place in our story. Seneca taught that becoming too attached to our current circumstances can lead to disappointment because inevitably those circumstances will change. He advised us to be flexible and to understand that change is not just a part of life, but a necessary component of our personal development and happiness. Epictetus encouraged us to distinguish between what we can control and what we can't. While we can't control our attitudes towards them, this mindset is incredibly empowering when it comes to dealing with change. It's about focusing on our responses, finding opportunities for growth within the change, and moving forward with resilience. But how can we become more accepting of change? First, by acknowledging that change is inevitable. It's the natural order of things. Everything around us is in a constant state of flux. Seasons change, people come and go, and our very selves are renewing themselves as we speak. Embracing change means embracing life itself. Second, by practicing mindfulness, being present in the moment allows us to appreciate our current experiences without clinging to them. This awareness creates space for acceptance when those experiences inevitably evolve or come to an end. Third, by seeking the lessons in change. Every shift in our lives, no matter how challenging, comes with opportunities to learn and grow. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can ask, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in perspective can turn the challenges of change into stepping stones for personal development. Aristotle spoke about the importance of pursuing a virtuous life as the key to happiness. A part of virtue is adaptability, the ability to navigate life's changes with grace and wisdom. It's about finding balance and harmony within the flux of life. Modern psychology supports this Stoic approach to change. Viewing change as an opportunity rather than a threat can significantly reduce stress and anxiety levels. It enhances our resilience, making us better equipped to handle whatever life throws our way. Let's remind ourselves that change is not just something to endure, but to welcome as a natural, enriching part of our journey. By accepting change, we open ourselves to new experiences, growth, and the beautiful unfolding of our unique paths in life. Remember, going with the flow isn't about passivity. It's about actively engaging with life in its full dynamic complexity. Let's navigate the currents of change with courage, grace, and a heart open to the endless possibilities that change brings. 11. Practicing compassion and empathy. Despite our differences, we are all in this together, navigating the complex journey of life. By fostering an understanding and caring attitude toward others, we contribute to making the world a kinder, more loving place. The Stoics, those ancient philosophers who continue to enlighten us with their timeless wisdom, placed great importance on the virtues of compassion and empathy. They believed in the interconnectedness of all humans and taught that kindness and understanding toward others are essential aspects of living a virtuous life. Marcus Aurelius, for instance, reminded us that human beings are social creatures by nature, meant to live in harmony and cooperation with one another. He said, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee." This beautifully illustrates the idea that our well-being is intrinsically linked to the well-being of others. Seneca emphasized the importance of treating others with kindness and generosity. He argued that compassion is a natural human instinct, and that by helping others, we also help ourselves. In his writings, Seneca encourages us to extend our empathy even to those who have wronged us, understanding that they too are acting out of their own struggles and limitations. Epictetus taught that we should strive to understand others' perspectives, recognizing that everyone has their reasons for their actions. This doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior, but rather approaching others with a mindset of empathy, seeking to understand their experiences and viewpoints. But how can we practice compassion and empathy in our daily lives? It starts with listening, truly listening, to the stories, experiences, and feelings of those around us. It's about putting ourselves in their shoes, imagining their struggles, their joys, their fears, and their hopes. This act of understanding can bridge the gap between us, fostering a sense of connection and shared humanity. Another way to cultivate compassion and empathy is through acts of kindness, no matter how small. A smile, a kind word, a listening ear. These can all make a significant difference in someone's day. By being present and attentive to others, we signal that they matter, that their feelings and experiences are valid and important. Practicing compassion and empathy also means being there for others in times of need, offering support and understanding without judgment. It's about recognizing the value and dignity of every person, regardless of our differences. The ancient philosopher Aristotle spoke about the importance of friendship and the role of empathy in building strong, meaningful relationships. He believed that true friends not only share in each other's joys, but also in their sorrows, supporting each other with empathy and understanding. Modern psychology supports the Stoic emphasis on compassion and empathy, showing that these virtues not only enhance our relationships, but also our own emotional well-being. By caring for others, we foster a sense of belonging, purpose, and happiness in our own lives. Let's remind ourselves that behind every face is a story. Behind every action is a reason. By understanding and caring for each other, we make the world a kinder, gentler place. In doing so, we not only enrich the lives of those around us, but also find deeper fulfillment and joy in our own lives. Together, let's spread kindness like confetti, creating ripples of compassion that transform the world, one act of empathy at a time. 12. Reflecting and reviewing regularly. This is about taking a pause, a real, meaningful pause, to look back on our actions, our thoughts, and the paths we've tread. It's about growth, introspection, and aligning our lives with our deepest values. In a world that's always rushing forward, this practice is our anchor, ensuring we're not just being swept away, but are sailing in the direction that's true to us. The Stoics, with their profound insights into human nature, placed immense value on the practice of reflection. Marcus Aurelius, in his personal writings, which we now treasure as meditations, offered a model of this practice. He didn't just rule an empire, he took the time to examine his life, his decisions, and his moral compass through writing. He saw this reflection as essential to living a life of virtue and purpose. "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts," he wrote, reminding us that our internal dialogue shapes our external reality. Seneca recommended regular self-assessment as a way to foster self-improvement and wisdom. He likened life to a play, suggesting that we periodically review our roles and performances. Are we acting in harmony with the character we wish to embody? Are our actions reflective of the script we value? The script of our lives? Epictetus encouraged his students to end each day with a review of their actions and attitudes. This wasn't about self-criticism, but about self-awareness and growth. He urged us to ask ourselves, what did I do well? What did I do wrong? What duties were left undone? Through such questions, we can steer our lives more consciously, making adjustments that bring us closer to our ideals. But how do we incorporate this practice of reflection and review into our modern lives? First, by making it a habit. Dedicate a few minutes each day, perhaps before bedtime, to reflect on your day. What were your victories? Where did you face challenges, and how did you respond? This practice can start as a mental exercise, but writing it down can enhance its benefits, giving you a tangible record of your journey. Second, use reflection as a tool for gratitude. In reviewing your day, also take note of the moments, no matter how small, that brought you joy or gratitude. This balances our natural tendency to focus on the negative, cultivating a more positive outlook on life. Third, approach this practice with kindness and compassion toward yourself. Reflection is not about berating yourself for mistakes, but about recognizing them as opportunities for learning and growth. Be as understanding and supportive to yourself as you would be to a dear friend. Aristotle spoke about the importance of living a reflective life. He believed that true wisdom comes from understanding ourselves, our actions, and our place in the world. This reflection is the essence of living an examined life, one that's in accordance with virtue and excellence. We often neglect the one person who is with us every step of the way, ourselves. It's easy to fall into the rhythm of solving problems for others and being a pillar of strength. Yet, when the curtains close and we're left in the quiet of our own company, the silence can be overwhelming. Stoicism reminds us that we are the masters of our own inner fortress, and the care we afford ourselves should be as rigorous and disciplined as a soldier preparing for battle. This isn't about indulgence, it's about survival. It's about ensuring that our energy, peace, and well-being are protected with the vigilance of a seasoned general who knows that the strength of an empire depends upon the resilience of its leader. As we delve into today's discussion on making ourselves a priority, remember, if this resonates with you, a simple free favor you could do is hit the subscribe button. Don't skip any part of the video. Every piece of wisdom here builds on the last, creating a blueprint for not just surviving, but thriving on your own terms. Join me on this journey, and let's explore these historical teachings together. Let's embrace Stoicism, not just as a philosophy, but as a daily practice to secure our personal well-being. Think about how many promises you've made to yourself and broken. How often have you planned to exercise, go to bed earlier, or eat healthier, only to let something else take priority? Now consider, if a friend behaved this way toward you, would you still trust them? Often we are the first to break promises to ourselves because we believe there are no consequences. Yet the real consequence is a profound lack of self-respect. If you want to inspire respect and take control of your life, you must start with respecting yourself. Whether you aim for better health, more wealth, inner peace, or greater discipline, maintaining your commitments is essential. Temporary changes won't suffice. Marcus Aurelius, despite ruling an empire and facing constant wars and betrayals, diligently recorded his reflections and flaws daily. He never outsourced his personal growth or discipline. This dedication to self-improvement begs the question: do you treat yourself as a priority, or are you neglecting your personal evolution, treating it as something that can be indefinitely postponed? The first commitment must be to yourself, not your boss, not your friends, and not your family. If you promise to rise early, then rise. If you commit to a project, see it through. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you reinforce a self-image of unworthiness and unreliability. But when you honor your commitments, you will notice a significant boost in self-esteem. You'll feel more in control, realizing you don't need external motivation. Your commitment is enough. This is the essence of discipline. Acting not out of immediate desire, but from a deep-seated decision to respect yourself. The world will indeed test this commitment. There will always be distractions, easier paths, excuses, but in these moments you must decide: will you default to excuses, or will you fulfill your commitments? Remember, Stoicism teaches that we control only our actions, our responses. You might not control the circumstances around you, but you can always control how you react. The moment to act, the opportunity to uphold your commitments is now. Not tomorrow, not when conditions are perfect, because such a moment doesn't exist. So, what have you been postponing? What promise to yourself have you left unfulfilled? Whether it's something as simple as reading a transformative book, or as significant as starting a new project or breaking a bad habit, start now. Each day you delay is a day not lived to its fullest. Remember, the strength of a person is not determined by their talent, intelligence, or luck, but by their commitment to themselves. Today, make a pact to never again disrespect your own word, to never treat your commitments lightly, and to never see yourself as unimportant. Life does not send rescues. No one will come to take you by the hand and lead you to your desired destination. Stoicism clearly teaches that you are solely responsible for the direction of your own existence. Waiting for someone to guide you for the perfect moment or for an external solution is simply a waste of time. Marcus Aurelius emphasized that the only things within your power, your actions and decisions, are what truly matter. He cautioned against fretting over the injustice of others, luck or the past, all of which are beyond your control. Many people live as if they are mere passengers in their own lives, passively waiting for fate to be kind or for someone else to solve their problems. This passive approach is a trap. Each day spent waiting is a day not truly lived. Life rewards action, not hesitation. While some may freeze in the face of uncertainty, others move forward despite not having all the answers. The latter group reaches further, proving that true strength lies in decisiveness, not in complete certainty. To lead your own life effectively, you must stop outsourcing your decisions to others and relying on their opinion. Abandon the naive notion that someone else will resolve your challenges. The world does not cater to our grievances or change just because we feel wronged. Reality marches on regardless of our involvement. Consider a ship adrift at sea, aimlessly pushed by the waves, an apt metaphor for someone who does not take charge of their life. Now contrast this with a seasoned navigator who, despite not controlling the storm, skillfully steers their ship, adjusting sails and tackling the waves head-on. This is the essence of leading your own life. Assuming this responsibility might seem burdensome, but in truth, it is liberating. Understanding that no one else can make your decisions or fight your battles frees you from the need to please others and from the fear of making mistakes. Stoicism teaches us to be emotionally self-sufficient, making choices based on personal integrity rather than the need for external approval. What distinguishes a fulfilling life from an empty one is the ability to make conscious choices, deciding what to tolerate, what thoughts to nurture, and what boundaries to set. If you do not actively make these choices, others will make them for you, often leading to a life that feels out of control and unfulfilling. Leading your life requires a daily commitment to this mindset, continually reminding yourself that you hold the ultimate responsibility for your path. While you may seek advice and learn from others, ultimately, the decisions are yours to make. If you don't take ownership of your life, be assured someone else will. Time waits for no one. Every morning, a new day dawns, ripe with choices and paths to be taken. Yet, many fail to realize that if they don't define their priorities, the world will. Living reactively, people often find themselves swayed by external demands and distractions, pulled in directions they never consciously chose, becoming mere pawns on another's chessboard. The reality is stark. Many believe they control their destiny, yet their days are cluttered with unchosen obligations and urgent but unimportant tasks. This scenario unfolds not by chance, but by failing to set personal priorities. Whether it's a demanding job, societal expectations, or mere procrastination, these forces conspire to waste our time on trivialities. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic luminary, understood that life's brevity meant each moment had to be used wisely. He knew that focus determines reality. Without direction, we drift aimlessly, like a leaf in the wind. His discipline in choosing priorities was not just about productivity, but a matter of honor, preserving the precious commodity of time. Historically, the great achievers weren't those who busied themselves with everything, but those who focused on what truly mattered. They eliminated the irrelevant, zeroing in on their true objectives. Today, however, many live on autopilot, inundated by a deluge of notifications and distractions, making it a near Herculean task to maintain focus. The danger is in the realization coming too late. Years pass, filled with regret for not taking control sooner, for spending more time solving others' problems than pursuing personal dreams. Stoicism teaches us to live each day as if it were our last, valuing the present and ensuring our actions are meaningful. Setting priorities is challenging. It requires effort to swim against the current of conformity, to make decisions that carve a distinct path rather than follow the crowd. True clarity about what matters simplifies choices. It leads to rejecting unnecessary engagements and focusing on actions that build toward real goals. Discovering what deserves priority starts with honest reflection, considering what changes would genuinely enhance your life. It means being ruthless in cutting out the superfluous and focusing on what's truly essential. By consciously setting your priorities, you're choosing to say no to distractions and yes to your life. Each day is a blank slate. If you don't decide how to fill it, others will. The Stoics knew that wisdom lies in controlling what we can, our time and our actions. They implored us to choose intentionally before circumstances choose for us. Every day, many people find themselves merely reacting to their surroundings, buffeted by the whims of external forces. Whether it's a rude remark that stirs anger, a traffic jam that breeds impatience, or bad news that saps spirits, reactions often seem automatic and out of control. But living this way means never truly holding the reins of your own life. The Stoics, including Marcus Aurelius, understood this deeply. They believed that to live a fulfilling life, one must not avoid challenges, since difficulties are inevitable, but should learn not to be governed by knee-jerk reactions. Marcus Aurelius, ruling over a vast empire, could not afford the luxury of reactive leadership. His strength came from a deliberate approach to action, a profound understanding that he must choose responses based on wisdom, not whim. The contrast between those who lead their lives and those who merely react is stark. Reactors are constantly at the mercy of external conditions, scrambling to address issues after they arise, often feeling victimized by their circumstances. However, true leaders shape their own paths. They anticipate challenges and set a proactive course for their lives. If you've ever felt upset by unexpected events or minor irritations, it's likely because reactive living grants these externalities power over your inner peace. Remember, the world is inherently imperfect, filled with challenges and provocations. The key is to change not the world around you, but how you respond to it. Consider a storm. Many panic, driven by fear into futile actions, while the steady, those who lead, assess the situation and make calculated decisions. They face the storm not with fear, but with strategy and resolve. Leading your life means crafting a plan, setting your direction based on enduring values rather than fleeting emotions. Those on autopilot, who react without thought, are often manipulated by the agendas of others, through media, societal pressure, or even social net. Choosing to lead rather than react means declaring that your life will not be dictated by external forces. It involves strategic decision-making, a refusal to let frustrations dictate your reactions. History's great leaders and thinkers weren't impulsive. They maintained their composure and clarity even amidst chaos. Now, ask yourself, are you living by your principles, or are you reacting to the world around you? Are you making conscious choices, or are you merely trying to keep up with life's demands? True change starts when you realize that not every provocation requires a response, and not every challenge must deplete your energy. If you find yourself constantly putting out fires, consider whether you're letting external factors steer your life's direction. Stoicism teaches us that we control only our actions and responses, nothing more. This means you have the power to choose calm over agitation, solutions over despair, and progress over stagnation. Time is relentless. It doesn't pause or look back. While it passes, those who lead with intention carve out meaningful existences, moving steadily toward their goals. In contrast, those who react drift along, often looking back with regret at time misspent. Not all battles in life are fought against external forces. Often, they are within the circles we choose, among people we share our days with. Unfortunately, not everyone in our lives serves to strengthen, support, or inspire us. Some may subtly drain our energy, diminish our motivation, and undermine our confidence, pulling us back rather than propelling us forward. Stoicism teaches us to protect our minds from factors beyond our control, including the negative influences of those around us. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, cautioned about the company we keep, noting that the wrong associates can corrupt even the strongest spirits. Reflect on this. If someone consistently devalues your achievements, ridicules your dreams, or undermines your self-esteem, why allow them space in your life? The time spent with such individuals is time stolen from your personal development, a high price to pay for relationships that offer nothing positive. Often, the fear of loneliness drives people to cling to toxic relationships or unfulfilling friendships. However, consider what is worse: being alone temporarily while you strengthen your resolve, or continuously being surrounded by those who sap your energy and stunt your growth. Loneliness, when embraced, can be a powerful phase of empowerment, while the wrong company can act as a silent prison, trapping you in mediocrity. Remember, protecting your energy is not an act of selfishness, it's a necessary form of self-preservation. You cannot support everyone, and you should not have to convince anyone of your worth. Your personal growth does not require anyone's approval. True supporters will encourage your development without conditions. Marcus Aurelius, faced with envy and manipulation, never allowed external criticisms to sway him from his path. He remained focused on what was truly important: his values, his duties, and his personal growth. Like him, you must assess the influence of those around you. Do they help you grow, or do they hold you back? Are they sources of inspiration or sources of doubt? If the influence is negative, consider distancing yourself. This doesn't mean you must end relationships abruptly or create conflict. Instead, realign your priorities quietly. Spend your time with those who enrich your life and engage in activities that contribute to your growth. Be vigilant about protecting your energy as diligently as you guard your time and your thoughts. If someone consistently undermines your confidence or questions your efforts, it's time to evaluate their role in your life. True progress requires letting go of burdens that aren't yours to carry. Choose the company you keep with care. They have a significant impact on your life's trajectory. The most decisive battles are not waged on a physical battlefield, but within the confines of your own mind. Your thoughts directly influence how you feel, act, and perceive your potential. A mind plagued by insecurity, doubt, and self-sabotage predestines you for defeat before you even engage with the world. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, taught that we are not disturbed by events themselves, but by the views we adopt about them. It's not the obstacles that define us, it's how we interpret them. Consider the process of a blacksmith forging a blade. The metal isn't born sharp, it is heated, hammered, and honed with precision. Similarly, your mind requires regular conditioning to remain sharp. Neglected, it can become as ineffective as a rusty blade, unfit for the battles of life. Those who train their bodies yet neglect their minds might appear strong, but they often falter under pressure due to internal fragility, manifesting as fear of failure, paralysis under stress, or chronic self-doubt. Your reality is sculpted by the thoughts you nurture. A mindset steeped in defeatism leads to a life lived in the shadows of failure. Conversely, a mind trained for resilience, strategy, and optimism can withstand the greatest of life's challenges. The good news is that the power to reshape your mind is entirely in your hands. Thoughts, like muscles, strengthen with consistent exercise. Focus on fostering mental patterns that empower and support your aspirations. A well-trained mind can manage doubt and fear without being overwhelmed by them. It possesses the clarity to use every experience as a stepping stone toward growth. The Stoics believed that while the world could strip you of material possessions and external stability, your thoughts remain inviolably yours. Therefore, the real question is whether you are actively fortifying your mental fortitude or allowing it to degrade in an autopilot existence. Many accept limiting beliefs without scrutiny. "I'm not good enough," "I always fail," or "this won't work for me." These negative scripts often stem not from factual assessments, but from past hurts and the projected opinions of others. A robust mind challenges these narratives, evaluating and rejecting them if they don't align with reality. Consider what your mind has been absorbing. Are your thoughts reinforcing your strengths, or are they eroding your confidence? Remember, the true battlefield lies within, and victory is determined not by external circumstances, but by internal resilience. Take charge of your cognitive processes. Don't let your mind become your adversary. Instead, cultivate it as your ally, one that propels you toward your goals with precision and positivity. The outcomes you experience in life are reflections of the thoughts you choose to entertain and believe. Solitude is often misunderstood. Far from being a sign of weakness, it is a profound source of strength. In our noise-filled world, we are taught to view being alone as a problem, a symbol of failure or abandonment. Yet history's greatest minds, from Stoic philosophers to visionary leaders, have recognized solitude as a vital opportunity for growth and self-discovery. The Stoics, in particular, valued solitude not as a curse, but as a precious gift. Marcus Aurelius, surrounded by the demands of his empire, cherished his moments alone for reflection. Epictetus, from his humble beginnings as a slave to becoming a revered philosopher, emphasized the importance of finding peace within oneself rather than seeking it through others. Seneca, through his letters, spoke of how true loneliness isn't about the absence of others, but the inability to be comfortable in one's own company. When you learn to be alone without feeling lonely, you unlock a transformative power. Solitude becomes not just a momentary retreat, but a space to engage deeply with your own thoughts, to reflect on your actions, and to plan your future. It is here in the quiet that you can truly listen to your own voice and forge a formidable inner strength that external circumstances cannot shake. Many avoid solitude, fearing the discomfort it may bring, filling their lives with endless distractions, social media, entertainment, and superficial interactions to escape facing themselves. But avoidance keeps you weak. It leaves you unprepared for life's inevitable challenges. Being alone should not be equated with being lost. On the contrary, it offers a unique chance to find yourself, to understand your desires, and to cultivate resilience. Consider this: the most intense growth often occurs not in the presence of others, but in the solitude of one's mind. Like warriors who train away from the battlefield, individuals who embrace solitude use it to sharpen their minds and fortify their spirits. They emerge not only ready to face the world, but also to shape it according to their vision. The challenge, then, is not to avoid solitude, but to embrace it, to see it as a vital phase of self-development, where you can establish a foundation of self-sufficiency. This doesn't mean cutting off relationships or eschewing social interactions, but rather ensuring that your relationship with yourself is the core from which strength radiates. In the silence of being alone, ask yourself, are you comfortable with who you are? Are you ready to use this time not as a punishment, but as a profound period of personal growth? Those who master solitude master themselves and become truly unshakable, no matter what life throws their way. Respect is not something you can buy, demand, or plead for. It must be earned. But crucially, it can only be genuinely received from those who respect themselves. Expecting respect from someone who lives in neglect of their own worth is an exercise in futility. The Stoics taught us to focus on what we can control and to disregard the rest. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, emphasized acting with justice, integrity, and wisdom, irrespective of how others treat us, highlighting that those who do not respect themselves are often unable to genuinely respect others. Reflect on the times you felt disappointment from not receiving the acknowledgement you deserve. Consider the energy and time spent seeking approval from those who do not even value themselves. Such efforts are doomed from the start. Respect mirrors the appreciation visible within one's self. It cannot be forced from those who have none for themselves. Many try to win over individuals who undervalue everything. They fail to understand, however, that you may appear as a threat rather than a figure deserving respect to someone entrenched in mediocrity and self-pity. Those lacking principles might feel threatened by your discipline and integrity, responding not with respect, but with minimization or ridicule. The Stoic way teaches us to pick our battles wisely. It is ineffective and exhausting to seek respect from those incapable of giving it. Your role is not to educate everyone on the virtues of principled living, but to embody those virtues yourself without seeking external validation. When you cease to seek respect from those who cannot offer it, you empower yourself. You realize that the only respect that truly matters is the respect you hold for yourself. This internal respect fosters true strength and independence. The Stoics lived this truth. They did not court external approval but found satisfaction in living righteously according to their own moral standards. This realization liberates you. No longer will you expend energy trying to change perceptions that are immovable. Instead, you will live freely, guided by your values and principles, not swayed by the need for external affirmation. True respect starts from within and radiates outward. When you respect yourself and live unapologetically according to your principles, you become truly unshakable. Ask yourself, are you living for the recognition of others, or are you living a life true to your values? Remember, the respect that counts the most is the respect you earn from yourself. Do not waste time on those who have not learned to see their own value. Continue to be steadfast, integral, and forward-moving. True confidence doesn't happen by accident, nor does it suddenly manifest when you need it most. It is meticulously crafted during unseen moments through silent preparation, unnoticed decisions, and seemingly insignificant daily habits that ultimately shape who you are. Many mistakenly believe that confidence springs forth from external recognition, opportunities, or overcoming challenges. However, real confidence stems from actions taken when no one is watching. A warrior's strength isn't proven on the battlefield alone, nor does a speaker's eloquence emerge solely before an audience. Just as a wise person's wisdom isn't confined to moments of decision, all these traits are the results of what has been diligently built in private. The Stoics, including Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, emphasize that strength is cultivated through routine and discipline, not spontaneous acts of heroism. They knew that the foundation of a resilient life is laid away from the public eye. If you aspire to be formidable when the world challenges you, your discipline must be consistent during moments of solitude. The way you perform when everyone is watching is a direct reflection of what you've practiced in privacy. If your daily life is riddled with procrastination and half-hearted commitments, you'll find yourself unprepared for critical moments. Conversely, if you establish robust habits, train your mind for resilience, and maintain unwavering discipline, you'll be equipped to handle any adversity. Self-confidence doesn't arise from superficial praise or accolades. It is born from the deep-seated knowledge that you are well prepared. It is knowing that you've addressed and conquered your weaknesses long before they ever have a chance to be exposed publicly. Your self-assurance is built on the countless times you've chosen to act with integrity rather than take the easy way out, reinforcing to yourself that you are capable and ready. The challenge many face is desiring the fruits of confidence without investing in the roots of preparation. They wish to feel powerful without engaging in the hard work that true strength requires. Life, however, doesn't reward the unprepared. The Stoics were clear. Consistent preparation is the key to enduring any of life's trials. By practicing self-discipline daily and pushing your limits in private, you ensure you are ready for whatever comes your way. Ask yourself, what are you doing when no one's looking? How are you shaping your mind, your character, your resilience? Are you actively preparing or merely hoping that confidence will find you unbidden? Remember, the most critical work happens offstage. In the quiet moments of preparation, you forge the steel of your spirit, ready to shine when the spotlight finds you. True confidence is not about boasting or believing blindly that things will work out. It's about knowing with quiet certainty that you are prepared for anything life throws at you. It's the peace that comes from having done the work, even when no one else was watching. Motivation is transient, often seen as essential for success but truly unreliable when it matters most. It provides an initial spark, yet fades quickly, leaving you stranded on challenging days. This is why relying solely on motivation can be detrimental to achieving long-term goals. The Stoics, understanding the deceptive nature of motivation, relied instead on discipline, commitment, and the cultivation of steadfast habits. Epictetus emphasized the daily practice of virtues, not just when convenient. Marcus Aurelius, even in his role as emperor, acted not out of motivation but from a sense of duty, knowing well that waiting for motivation is a trap. Success isn't a result of fleeting emotions, but the product of habits practiced consistently, regardless of one's emotional state. Consider a warrior preparing for battle, who doesn't train only when motivated. They train relentlessly to ensure readiness, regardless of their mood. Life demands the same discipline, regular action, irrespective of desire. Building something substantial, be it a personal goal or a professional project, requires consistency that outlasts momentary motivation. Habit formation is crucial, as it underpins any significant achievement. Actions should stem from a commitment to these habits, not the whims of feeling inspired. Many fail because they are conditioned to act only when they feel right, a notion that undermines the very essence of discipline. The Stoic philosophy teaches that self-control and habitual action are paramount and far superior to being driven by fleeting emotions. Motivation may waver like a flickering flame, but a well-established habit burns steadily, providing continuous momentum. Reflect on whether your actions are motivated by fleeting emotions or grounded in robust habits. The path to success is paved with consistent, disciplined actions that become second nature, reinforcing your progress regardless of external conditions. In a world where almost everything is just a click away from being public knowledge, what if I told you that the most empowering thing you could do is keep a secret, not just any secret, but the personal milestones, the quiet victories that are yours and yours alone? We often forget that before the digital age, privacy was a cherished treasure. Stoicism teaches us the value of the inner self, the part of us that doesn't need applause to thrive. It's about understanding that some of the most significant battles we face are fought in the silence of our minds, and not every one of those needs to be a headline in our social feeds. As we dive into today's discussion, think about the last time you chose not to share something on social media. How did it feel? Liberating? A little rebellious, maybe? That's because you exercised a choice that goes against the grain of our share everything culture. You tapped into a story principle that's about as old as philosophy itself, the notion that not everything we do or think needs validation from the outside world. Now, if you appreciate what we're exploring here, a simple free favor you can do is hit the subscribe button. Today we're going to unpack why choosing what to share and what to keep to ourselves isn't just an act of privacy, it's an act of power. By the end of our talk, you might just see your quiet, unshed moments as the gold they truly are. So, let's get into it. When we talk about our personal values, we're diving into some of the most intimate aspects of who we are. These aren't just the standards we hold for our actions. They're the core beliefs that dictate every decision, every reaction, and how we perceive the world around us. Now consider for a moment how value guide us through the chaos of everyday life. Stoicism teaches that it's not the events themselves, but our responses to them that shape our lives. Our values are our chosen responses, the paths we tread even when storms rage. They anchor us, giving us resilience against what we can't control. For example, if one of your core values is integrity, this will influence how you react when faced with a challenging decision at work or in personal relationships. It becomes your inner compass. During this, no matter the external pressures, you remain true to your course. But how do we identify these core values? It's one thing to list desirable qualities like courage, honesty, or loyalty, but understanding what truly resonates with our deepest self requires inner honesty. Understanding what truly resonates with our deepest self requires inner honesty. This is where Stoic exercises can be incredibly beneficial. They encourage us to reflect on our daily experiences and evaluate our reactions. Did I act out of fear or with courage? Was I honest even when it was difficult? These reflections help us see not just who we are, but who we aspire to be, allowing us to line our actions with our true nature. Stoicism doesn't just stop at knowing your value. It pushes for consistency between your value and your actions. This alignment is crucial because it's easy to claim a value. It's much harder to live it out, especially when tested. Stoics propose exercises like the evening reflection, where you review your day's actions and assess whether they were in line with your values. This practice doesn't just reinforce good behaviors. It also helps root out the inconsistencies, giving us a chance to course correct. Now, living in line with your values is undoubtedly rewarding, but it's not without its challenges. The modern world constantly bombards us with messages that can cloud our judgment or lead us astray. Social media, peer pressure, and even advertising can subtly shift our focus from our values to more superficial metrics of success, like wealth, fame, or physical appearance. Stoicism teaches us to recognize these external influences and separate them from our internal dialogue, which is essential in maintaining our path and not getting lost in others' expectations. Why is this alignment so vital? Because it ultimately leads to a more fulfilling and peaceful life. When our actions don't match our values, we feel it deep down, a kind of moral dissonance that can lead to stress, unhappiness, and even depression. But when they do align, there's a profound sense of peace and satisfaction that comes from knowing you are living true to yourself, regardless of external circumstances. This journey towards understanding and living your values isn't just about personal satisfaction, though it impacts everyone around you. When you live by your values consistently, you become a beacon for others. You inspire those who might still be searching for their path, and you offer a model of ingratitude and strength in a world that often values the opposite. Diving deep into what really makes us tick isn't just an exercise for philosophers or the introspective few. It's something that can benefit us all. Think about it like this. Identifying your core values is akin to mapping out the territory of your soul. It's about understanding the landscape of your inner world, which in turn shapes how you navigate the external world. And while it might sound like a hefty task, it's one that Stoicism, with its focus on self-awareness and wisdom, tackles head-on. Now, the process of figuring out these core values isn't about picking from a pre-made list. It's much more personal and profound than that. It involves a deep and honest look at what drives your decisions and actions at a fundamental level. What principles make you feel most alive? Which values, when you act on them, make you feel like you're being most true to yourself? These aren't questions that can be answered quickly. They require reflection, perhaps through journaling or meditation, both practices highly regarded in Stoic philosophy for their power to reveal our true natures. Stoicism teaches us that wisdom comes from within, from understanding our own virtues and how they connect to the universal virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation. By identifying our core values, we're not just making a list, we're committing to a life that seeks to harmonize our actions with these virtues. For example, if you value honesty, then living truthfully in all your dealings is a way to practice the Stoic virtue of justice, aligning your personal values with a broader ethical framework. Furthermore, it's important to realize that our values can evolve as we grow and experience more of life. What we hold important may shift. This is where Stoicism offers another valuable tool. The practice of constant Stoics advocate for regular periods of reflection to reassess our values and ensure they still represent who we are and who we want to be. This isn't about inconsistency, it's about growth. As you face new challenges or learn from past experiences, your understanding of what matters most can deepen, leading to a more nuanced appreciation of your values. And let's talk about how these values play out in the real world. Identifying your core values has practical benefits that extend far beyond personal satisfaction. It affects your relationships, career choices, and even day-to-day decisions. When you know your core values, you can choose paths that align with your principles, leading to greater fulfillment and less regret. You'll be less likely to find yourself in situations that compromise your integrity or leave you feeling out of place. So, how can you start identifying these core values? Begin by considering times when you felt particularly full or right about a decision. What was driving that feeling? Was it a commitment to fairness, a desire to be creative, a need to challenge yourself, or perhaps a commitment to loyalty? Also, consider the opposite. Situations that made you deeply uncomfortable are just as telling. Often they signal a violation of a core value. It might seem like a buzzword at times, but light management, matching what we do with what we believe, is one of those pivotal ingredients in a life that feels genuinely fulfilling and authentic. When our actions and our values are in sync, there's a kind of harmony that permeates everything we do, from the way we interact with others to the personal goals we set and strive to achieve. In the realm of Stoicism, this line is not just recommended, it's considered essential to living a virtuous life, one that is consistent and true to oneself. So why does this alignment matter so much? Think about the internal conflict that arises when we act in ways that contradict our core beliefs. It's uncomfortable, isn't it? There's a discord, a nagging sense of being out of step with ourselves. Stoicism teaches us that peace of mind comes from living a unified life, a life where our thoughts, actions, and values are all pulling in the same direction. The ancient Stoics believed that dissonance between these elements leads to turmoil within the soul, while alignment brings tranquility. Consider the Stoic idea of living according to nature, your own nature and the nature of the world. This means understanding who you are and what you stand for, and then acting in ways that are congruent with that understanding. When there is a clear line between your beliefs and your actions, decision-making becomes more straightforward. Stress levels drop and confidence grows because you are no longer at war with yourself. You're not pretending to be someone else or living by someone else's rules. You're being fundamentally true to your own values and principles. This alignment also impacts how we relate to others and navigate the world. When you live in alignment with your values, people know what you stand for. This transparency builds trust and respect, qualities that are crucial in both personal and professional relationships. It also makes you a stable and predictable partner, friend, or leader, not murkier or inconsistent, but reliable and steadfast. Moreover, living in alignment attracts others with similar values, creating a support network of like-minded individuals who reinforce and share your commitment to certain principles. The process of achieving and maintaining alignment isn't always easy, particularly in a society that often values expediency over it. It requires a constant process of self-examination and adjustment. Reminiscent of the Stoic practice of the evening review, at the end of each day, Stoics reflect on the actions of the day, asking yourself, did my actions today reflect my core values? Where did I fall short, and how can I improve tomorrow? This practice isn't about self-reflection, self-excellence, but about self-improvement and realigning our daily actions with our deeper value. Moreover, active life offers a deeper sense of satisfaction with life. There's a profound joy and peace that comes from knowing you're living in a way that's true to your deepest beliefs. This isn't the fleeting happiness that comes from external achievements or the approval of others, but a dailable, enduring contentment that sustains through life's ups and downs. It's the kind of happiness that Stoics aim for, a happiness based on virtue and self-consistency. In a broader sense, living with alignment helps us navigate life's challenges with greater resilience. When we face tough choices or adversity, being anchored in our values provides a guidepost for action that feels right, even when the right action is difficult. It enables us to act with courage and integrity because we're not just reacting to external circumstances. We're responding in a way that's consistent with our deepest self. Sticking to your core values sounds straightforward when you're in a calm, controlled environment, right? But let's face it, life isn't a controlled environment. Life is unpredictable, messy, and full of temptations and pressures that can easily veer us off course. This is where the real challenge comes in, maintaining that limit between what we believe and how we act when the world around us seems intent on touching those beliefs at every turn. One of the primary hurdles we face in staying aligned is the external pressure to conform, whether it's from our social circles, workplace, or society at large. There's often a strong push to fit in. This can mean adopting behaviors or making choices that don't match up with our internal compass. The Stoics were well aware of this challenge and emphasized the importance of fortitude and personal integrity in the face of societal norms. They advocated for a kind of moral courage, the courage to stand firm in your convictions, even when doing so might make you stand out or swim against the current. Another significant challenge is the complexity of modern life. We are bombarded with choices and information, and often the right path isn't clear. It can be tough to discern which actions lie with our values, especially when those values might conflict with each other, or when the consequences of our choices are uncertain. Stoicism offers a tool here as well, the practice of reflection and contemplation. By taking the time to reflect on our decisions and their alignment with our values, we can navigate complex situations more effectively. This reflection also involves being honest with ourselves about our mindset and the potential impacts of our actions, ensuring that our choices are not only intentional, but also informed. Additionally, there's the issue of short-term dishonor clashing with long-term values. In moments of weakness or stress, it's all too easy to give in to impulses that might lead us away from our principles. Here, the Stoic practice of self-discipline and control over one's passions comes into play. Stoics believe that by mastering our impulses, we can ensure that our actions remain in line with our deeper values, rather than being derailed by feeling desire. Maintaining alignment requires continuous effort and vigilance. It's not a set-it-and-forget-it kind of deal. Our environments change, we evolve, and our understanding of our values can deepen over time. This dynamic nature of life means that staying aligned is an ongoing process of adjustment and realignment. It requires us to be perpetually mindful and proactive about our choices, a concept that is at the very heart of Stoic philosophy. Sometimes the challenge also comes from within, in the form of self-doubt or lack of self-awareness. It's possible to be sincere in our intent to live according to our values, but misguided in our execution. This might be due to blind spots in our self-awareness or misunderstandings about what our values truly imply for our behavior. Stoicism encourages us to seek wisdom continually, not just about the world, but also about ourselves. This includes recognizing and confronting our limitations and biases and being open to learning and growth. In facing these challenges, it's crucial not to be too hard on ourselves when we falter. The Stoic path isn't about achieving perfection, but striving toward becoming better versions of ourselves. Each challenge offers a new opportunity to strengthen our commitment to our values and to practice the virtues that Stoics hold dear: wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. When it comes to keeping our actions in sync with our values, it's often easier said than done, right? Even with the best intentions, the hectic pace of daily life can sometimes scatter our focus. Luckily, there are some practical, down-to-earth strategies we can adopt to help ensure we stay on track. These substances are acting on them becomes second nature. First up, let's talk about setting clear, actionable goals that reflect our core values. It's like giving yourself a roadmap where each milestone is aligned with your deeper beliefs. Say one of your values is compassion. You might set a goal to volunteer a certain number of hours each month. This isn't just about doing good deeds. It's about embodying into your life in a tangible way. Similarly, if integrity is a key value for you, your goals might include always being transparent in your communications at work, even when the truth is uncomfortable. Another powerful strategy is to create daily rituals that reinforce your values. The Stoics were big on routines that helped them embody their philosophy. For instance, You might start your day with a few minutes of reflection on what your values are and how you intend to demonstrate them throughout the day. This could be as simple as a morning meditation or journaling session where you set your intentions to be patient, frugal, or whatever else aligns with your values. Reflection is key here, and it's something the Stoics practiced diligently. They believed in the importance of examining one's actions at the end of each day to see if they lived up to their ideals. You can adopt this practice by taking time each evening to review your day. What did you do that was in line with your values? Where did you fall short, and how can you improve tomorrow? This isn't about beating yourself up over mistakes, but about acknowledging where you can do better. Accountability partners can also play a crucial role in maintaining alignment. Share your goals and how they relate to your values with a friend or a mentor who can help keep you honest. Just like a workout buddy can motivate you to hit the gym, an accountability partner can help keep your actions aligned with your values. They can offer a fresh perspective when you're facing challenges and celebrity with you when you successfully embody your values. Incorporating visual reminders of your values into your environment can also be incredibly effective. This could be as simple as posting quotes that resonate with your values around your workspace or home. Each time you see these reminders, they can serve as a prompt to act in ways that reflect your deepest beliefs. For instance, a Stoic might keep a symbol that represents tranquility, an essential aspect of Stoic calm in their living space, to continually remind them of their commitment to maintaining inner peace despite external chaos. Practicing mindfulness can enhance your ability to live according to your values. Mindfulness helps you become more aware of your thoughts and actions in the moment, allowing you to make choices that are more deliberate and aligned. When you're mindful, you're not operating on autopilot. Instead, you're fully present and making conscious decisions that reflect your values, which is a core aspect of Stoic living. Learning to confidently say no is like developing a superpower in today's yes-centric world. It's not just about turning down invitations or requests. It's a profound act of self-respect and a crucial component of living a life aligned with your values. Think of it this way. Every time you say no to something that doesn't align with your core beliefs, you're actually saying yes to your own priorities, health, and well-being. But saying no isn't always easy. We're often conditioned to avoid it for fear of seeming rude, unhelpful, or selfish. Hence, Stoicism offers a counter to this mindset by emphasizing the virtue of wisdom, knowing when different choices serve our higher goals. When you say no to demands that clash with your values, you're actually exercising practical wisdom. You're making a deliberate choice to honor your commitments to yourself and your vision of the good life. One effective strategy to say no with confidence is to be clear about your reasons, both to yourself and to others. When you understand and can articulate why something doesn't align with your values, it becomes much easier to communicate that decision succinctly. For example, if you value personal growth and someone incites you to a project that you know will lead nowhere, explaining your focus on meaningful projects can help both you and the other party understand your refusal. Another key aspect is to practice assertiveness. Being assertive doesn't mean being regressive. It's about being firm and straightforward in your communication. It's perfectly okay to say, "I appreciate your thinking of me, but I can't commit to this right now." Or, "This isn't right for me, but thank you for the offer." These responses show respect for both yourself and the person making the request, maintaining the relationship while still standing your ground. It's also important to normalize saying no for yourself. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Start with small things, like declining an extra responsibility at work when your plate is already full, or saying no to a social event when you need time to recharge. As you grow more accustomed to pushing back against smaller demands, you'll build the confidence to say no in more significant, regardless stakes situations. Moreover, remember that saying no can sometimes lead to feelings of guilt or worry about missing out. Here, Stoicism teaches us to focus on our inner state and not be troubled by external judgments or fears. Reflect on the tranquility and freedom that come from making decisions aligned with your personal philosophy, rather than decisions driven by anxiety or a desire for approval. Consider the long-term benefits of saying no. Each time you make a choice that aligns with your values, you reinforce your identity and integrity. This not only builds your confidence, but also strengthens your reputation as someone who is clear, reliable, and principled. Over time, people come to respect your choices and your willingness to stick to your beliefs, which, in itself, can reduce the pressure to conform. In a world that never stops moving, where every moment is filled with noise, demands, and relentless pressure, finding true peace might seem like a distant dream. But what if I told you that tranquility isn't found in escaping your life, but in changing how you live it? This isn't about retreat. It's about transformation. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy designed for modern chaos, teaches us not just to survive, but to thrive amidst life's storms by mastering the art of control. Control not over others, but over ourselves. Welcome to Stoic Journal, where ancient wisdom meets modern challenges. If you're ready to embrace Stoic strategies that will empower you to sail through life's turbulent waters with grace and resilience, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving deep into the core of Stoicism, exploring how this timeless wisdom can be more than just a philosophy. It can be a practical toolkit for living a richer, more resilient life. So, if you're looking to turn challenges into opportunities and cultivate a steadfast serenity that lasts, stay tuned. Together, we'll unlock the secrets of Stoicism and discover how to harness its power every single day. Join me in embracing a life where every obstacle becomes a stepping stone to personal growth and fulfillment. If you appreciate what we're doing here and want to support this journey into Stoicism, a simple favor I'll ask from you is to hit the subscribe button. And don't skip any part of the video. We've packed it with insights that unfold step by step, each one building on the last to transform your understanding and your life. When we dive into the teachings of Stoicism, one of the most powerful and life-changing principles we encounter is the concept of control. It's fascinating how this ancient philosophy, developed over 2 millennia ago, provides us with a tool so essential for our modern hectic lives. Stoicism teaches us a simple yet profound truth. Our true power lies not in extending our reach over the external world, but in mastering our own inner responses. This concept isn't about gaining control over others or the circumstances we find ourselves in. Rather, it's about understanding what is truly within our grasp, our thoughts, our reactions, and our actions. Think about it. How often do we find ourselves feeling frustrated or upset over things we simply cannot change? Maybe it's the weather ruining our weekend plans or a friend running late to a meetup. Our natural inclination might be to let these external events disturb our peace. However, Stoicism invites us to shift our focus. Instead of ruminating on the uncontrollable, Stoicism encourages us to ask, what can I control in this situation? The answer is almost always related to our internal state, our mindset, our readiness to adapt, and our decision on how to respond. This principle of focusing on what we can control helps us build resilience against the chaos of everyday life. By anchoring our energy on our internal state, we create a kind of mental fortress that external circumstances cannot breach. For instance, when facing a traffic jam that makes us late for an important appointment, instead of stewing in anger and frustration, Stoicism teaches us to use that time to reflect, plan our day, or simply enjoy some music. This change in perspective doesn't alter the traffic, but it dramatically transforms our experience of it. Moreover, understanding control is about accepting the limits of our influence. This acceptance does not mean resignation, but rather a strategic redirection of our efforts toward areas where we can make a real impact. It's like being the captain of a ship in a storm. While you can't control the storm, you have the authority over how you steer the ship and manage the crew. This metaphor encapsulates the Stoic approach, managing our ship, ourselves, with wisdom and integrity, regardless of the storm and challenges around us. Practicing this Stoic principle also means preparing ourselves for various outcomes. It teaches us to remain composed, not only when things go our way, but also when they don't. This level of detachment from outcomes is incredibly freeing. It allows us to engage in our activities with full effort and commitment, but without the heavy burden of needing certain outcomes for our happiness. This is what Stoics mean when they talk about selective indifference, caring deeply about our actions and efforts while being indifferent to the fluctuations of fortune. The Stoic understanding of control is a powerful antidote to stress and anxiety. It grounds us in the present and focuses us on the actionable, empowering us to live with intention and tranquility. By internalizing this lesson, we don't just cope with life's unpredictabilities, we thrive amidst them. We become proactive participants in our lives, choosing responses that align with our deepest values, rather than being reactive to every external stimulus. Embracing the Stoic practice of focusing on what we can control doesn't happen overnight. It requires mindfulness, self-reflection, and regular practice. But the rewards, increased serenity, effectiveness, and a profound sense of empowerment, are well worth the effort. As we continue to explore Stoicism, let's keep this foundational principle in mind. It's not just about reading and understanding Stoic philosophy, it's about living it, one controlled, thoughtful response at a time. In Stoic philosophy, virtue is not just a moral compass, but the very core of a fulfilling life. It's interesting how Stoicism aligns the pursuit of virtue with the pursuit of happiness, a concept that might seem counterintuitive in today's fast-paced world, where happiness is often equated with pleasure or success. But Stoics view it differently. For them, happiness isn't found in external achievements or material possessions, but in living a life of virtue. So, what exactly does virtue mean in Stoicism? It encompasses four main qualities: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Each of these virtues plays a crucial role in how we navigate our lives. Wisdom involves the insightful understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Courage is about facing life's challenges with resilience and bravery. Justice relates to treating others with fairness and kindness. Temperance is the art of self-control and moderation. Together, these virtues form the Stoic ideal of a well-lived life. The Stoic pursuit of happiness through virtue is fundamentally different from the fleeting pleasures we often chase. Stoicism teaches us that true happiness is a state of inner peace and satisfaction that comes from knowing you've lived well according to your own principles. This kind of happiness is stable and enduring. It doesn't evaporate when external conditions change, because it's based not on what happens to us, but on how we choose to respond. This approach to happiness is incredibly empowering. It suggests that regardless of our external circumstances, we have the capacity to cultivate happiness within ourselves by developing virtuous qualities. Think about the implications of that. It means that our emotional and psychological well-being doesn't have to be at the mercy of our surroundings or situations, which are often beyond our control. Instead, happiness becomes something we actively build through our choices and actions. Practicing Stoic virtue also means striving to be better each day. It's about personal growth and self-improvement. For instance, when we practice temperance, we learn to resist impulses that might lead to excess or harm. When we practice justice, we contribute positively to our communities, promoting a sense of goodwill and support. Each act of virtue not only enhances our own lives, but also touches the lives of others around us, creating a ripple effect of positivity. Moreover, the Stoic link between virtue and happiness teaches us about the importance of aligning our actions with our values. In a world where we are often pulled in different directions by conflicting desires and pressures, Stoicism offers a clear directive: focus on living virtuously. This simplifies decision-making and reduces the stress and anxiety associated with trying to please everyone or achieve perfection. It guides us to focus on being good, rather than merely feeling good or looking good. Embracing Stoic virtues isn't about suppressing emotions or denying pleasure. It's about finding a deeper, more meaningful kind of happiness that sustains us through life's ups and downs. It challenges us to look beyond immediate gratification and consider the long-term effects of our actions on our character and well-being. In practice, living a life of Stoic virtue can be challenging. It requires constant vigilance and effort. It asks us to be mindful of our actions and choices, to reflect regularly on our behavior, and to strive continually towards embodying the Stoic ideals. But the payoff is immense. As we align more closely with these virtues, we find that our lives are richer, our relationships are stronger, and our souls are calmer. So, as we journey through the teachings of Stoicism, let's keep in mind that virtue is the key to genuine, lasting happiness. It's not an easy path, but it is a rewarding one, filled with growth, resilience, and a deep sense of fulfillment. In the pursuit of Stoic happiness, every step we take in virtue is a step towards a more peaceful and meaningful life. One of the most compelling aspects of Stoicism is how it teaches us to reframe our perceptions to change our reality. This concept might sound a bit like modern psychology, and you'd be right to think there are parallels. Stoicism, however, takes this idea back thousands of years and integrates it into a broader philosophy that addresses how we can lead fulfilling lives by focusing on what we truly control. So, how does Stoicism help us reframe our perception? It starts with the premise that it's not the events themselves that upset us, but rather our opinions about them. For example, if you get caught in a rainstorm and feel miserable, it's not necessarily the rain that's causing your misery, it's your perception of the situation. Perhaps you see the rain as an annoyance rather than a natural occurrence that brings much-needed water to the earth. This shift in thinking, from seeing the rain as a personal inconvenience to viewing it as a beneficial ecological event, changes your emotional response to it. This Stoic principle of reframing perception is incredibly powerful because it puts us back in the driver's seat of our own emotions. Instead of being tossed around by external events, we get to choose our responses. This is done through what Stoics call the dichotomy of control, which is simply distinguishing between what we can control and what we can't. We can't control the weather, the traffic, or other people's actions, but we can control our reactions to these things. Let's dive a bit deeper into how this works in practice. Imagine you're working on a project at work, and suddenly there's a change in project direction due to external factors beyond your control. You might initially feel frustrated or anxious about the changes and additional work. However, by applying Stoic thinking, you can reframe this situation. Instead of viewing it as a setback, see it as an opportunity to learn new skills or to demonstrate your flexibility and creativity. This doesn't just change how you feel about the situation, it changes the situation itself in terms of your experience of it. Moreover, this reframing of perception, according to Stoic principles, goes beyond mere positive thinking. It's about seeing the truth of a situation more clearly. It involves understanding the nature of the world as one of change and unpredictability, and then aligning our expectations and actions accordingly. This alignment reduces our disappointments and enhances our resilience, as we are no longer fighting against the inevitable flow of life, but moving with it. The practice of reframing perception also encourages us to focus on the present moment, instead of getting lost in regrets about the past or worries about the future. Stoicism teaches us to concentrate on the here and now, on what we are doing at this moment, and how we can do it with virtue. This focus is liberating because it narrows down the vast array of things that might concern us to the few things we can actually influence. Reframing perception and reality in Stoicism isn't just a coping mechanism, it's a transformative process that leads to true inner peace. By consistently applying this Stoic practice, we begin to see that many of the walls we face are ones we have built ourselves with our misconceptions and misplaced beliefs. Breaking down these walls doesn't just change our view of the world, it changes the world we live in. The Stoic practice of reframing our perceptions is about understanding the true nature of events, recognizing our power to choose our responses, and focusing our efforts on what we can actually influence. This approach doesn't just help us handle life's challenges more effectively, it empowers us to lead lives marked by calm, clarity, and purpose. As we continue to explore and apply these Stoic teachings, we find that the quality of our lives is not determined by external circumstances, but by the perceptions and choices we make. In Stoicism, one of the most profound and perhaps most challenging concepts is amor fati, which translates to love of fate. This isn't just about accepting whatever life throws at us. It's about embracing it with open arms, not just as an unavoidable reality, but as something beneficial and necessary for our growth. It's a powerful idea that turns potential adversity into a source of strength. How do we begin to not just accept but love our fate? It starts with understanding that everything that happens can be seen as an opportunity. Stoicism teaches us that our character is formed not through our experiences, but through our responses to those experiences. When we love our fate, we are essentially saying that we trust in the natural flow of life and believe there is value in whatever happens. This doesn't mean we desire or wish for suffering or hardship, but rather that we find peace and purpose in the inevitability of such experiences. The beauty of amor fati lies in its radical optimism. Instead of fighting against the currents of life, we learn to swim with them. This perspective doesn't come easily, of course. It requires a deep philosophical shift, a sort of mental rewiring that allows us to see the silver linings in dark clouds, without being naive or dismissive of the hardships. For example, if you lose a job, it's natural to feel upset and anxious. However, embracing amor fati would involve a shift in perspective, where you might see this event as an opportunity to pursue a path more aligned with your true passions, or to develop resilience and adaptability. Embracing amor fati also means letting go of bitterness and regret. Stoicism doesn't ask us to forget the past or ignore the pain. Instead, it encourages us to acknowledge our feelings, but not to allow them to control us. By loving our fate, we accept the past for what it is, a part of our journey that has led us to where we are now, contributing to who we have become. This acceptance frees us from the weight of past grievances, allowing us to move forward with a lighter spirit and a clearer mind. Moreover, amor fati is about finding joy in the journey itself, not just a destination. It's easy to think we'll be happy when we reach a certain milestone, when we get that job, when we buy that house, when we retire. But Stoicism teaches us that there's a profound joy available to us right here and now, in this very moment, if only we choose to see and embrace it. This doesn't mean we stop striving or becoming. It means we cherish the process as much as, if not more than, the outcomes. In practical terms, living with amor fati can start with small steps. It might mean taking a moment each day to reflect on something that didn't go as planned and finding something valuable in that experience. Perhaps it taught you a lesson, or maybe it strengthened a relationship through shared struggle. It could also involve more significant life changes, such as choosing a career path that feels true to your core values, even if it's less conventional or secure. Trusting that the challenges along the way will enrich your life's narrative. Amor fati enriches our lives by deepening our connection to the world and to ourselves. It helps us cultivate an inner resilience that acts as an anchor in the stormy seas of life. This love of fate doesn't make life easier, but it does make us stronger and more harmoniously aligned with the natural course of events. As we continue to explore Stoicism, let's try to see amor fati not just as a philosophical concept, but as a daily practice, a way to embrace each moment, each challenge, and each joy that life offers. By doing so, we transform our relationship with life itself, turning every experience into a pathway to greater wisdom and peace. Embarking on the journey to Stoicism is like starting a profound adventure, one that invites us to explore deep insights into our lives and fundamentally change how we interact with the world around us. It's not merely about learning a set of theories. It's about transforming those theories into everyday practices that strengthen our resilience, enhance our happiness, and deepen our understanding of life. The journey begins with a simple yet profound shift in perspective, recognizing that while we can't control external events, we can control our responses to them. This realization is the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. It's a liberating concept that frees us from feeling victimized by circumstances or other people's actions. Instead, it empowers us to take charge of our inner world. As we delve deeper into Stoicism, we learn to cultivate 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Each of these virtues is not just an abstract ideal, but a practical guide to living well. Wisdom teaches us to see things as they really are. Courage gives us the strength to face challenges head-on. Justice guides us to treat others fairly, and temperance helps us find balance in all things. Embracing these virtues in daily life can be challenging, but also incredibly rewarding. Another key aspect of the Stoic journey is developing mindfulness, being fully present in the moment. This practice helps us become more aware of our thoughts, feelings, and reactions. By observing ourselves without judgment, we can start to identify patterns that might lead us away from our Stoic ideals. For instance, we might notice that we tend to react impulsively when we're stressed, or that we hold on to grudges longer than is healthy. Awareness is the first step toward change. Practical exercises are also integral to this journey. One such exercise is the evening reflection, where we review our day and assess how well we lived up to our Stoic principles. Did we handle a stressful situation with composure? Did we treat everyone we encountered with fairness and kindness? These reflections not only help us learn from our experiences, but also reinforce our commitment to living a Stoic life. The journey to Stoicism also involves embracing challenges as opportunities for growth. This perspective shift is essential because it turns every obstacle into a teacher. When we face difficulties, instead of feeling defeated, we can ask ourselves, what can this situation teach me? This approach not only makes us more resilient, but also more open to learning and personal development. Furthermore, Stoicism encourages us to build a community or seek out like-minded individuals who are also on this path. Having a support system can be incredibly beneficial, as it provides us with encouragement, different perspectives, and companionship on our journey. Sharing experiences and challenges with others who understand and appreciate Stoic principles can enhance our own understanding and application of Stoicism. Finally, the journey to Stoicism is a lifelong pursuit. It's not about reaching a state of perfection, but about striving toward continuous improvement. It's about becoming more virtuous, more resilient, and more aligned with our true selves each day. As we progress, we'll find that the rewards of this philosophical path are not just about personal tranquility and resilience. They extend to improving our relationships with others and positively impacting the world around us. The journey to Stoicism is about growth and transformation. It challenges us to look inward, reassess our values, and align our actions with those values. It teaches us to be strong in the face of adversity and compassionate in our dealings with others. It's a path that not only enhances our own lives, but also has the potential to enrich the lives of everyone around us. Let's embrace this journey with open hearts and minds, ready to learn and grow in ways we might never have imagined. Integrating Stoicism into daily life is about much more than adopting a philosophical outlook. It's about transforming abstract Stoic principles into concrete actions and habits that enhance our everyday experiences. Practical Stoicism isn't just for times of crisis or philosophical reflection. It's for the ordinary moments, the everyday decisions, and the small challenges that shape our lives. The first step in practicing Stoicism daily is starting each day with intentionality. This means setting a few minutes aside each morning to contemplate the day ahead and remind ourselves of the Stoic virtues we aim to embody: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. It's about asking ourselves how we can apply these virtues in the day's activities. For example, how will I exhibit temperance in my eating habits or spending? How can I practice courage in my workplace or personal challenges? This morning ritual sets a purposeful tone for the day, aligning our actions with our Stoic ideals. Throughout the day, practical Stoicism involves being mindful of our reactions to events and people. It's about observing our automatic responses and asking whether they align with Stoic principles. When something doesn't go as planned, instead of reacting with frustration or anger, we pause and consider a more measured Stoic response. This might mean taking a deep breath and recalling the Stoic view that we can control our reactions, even if we can't control external events. This habit of pausing and choosing our response can transform our interactions and significantly reduce stress and conflict in our lives. Another key aspect of practical Stoicism is dealing with negative emotions effectively. Stoicism teaches us that negative emotions are often the result of mistaken judgments or excessive attachments to things beyond our control. When we feel overwhelmed by negative emotions, it's helpful to step back and analyze their source. Are we upset because of something outside our control? Are we placing too much importance on external validation or material success? By questioning the roots of our emotions and aligning our expectations with Stoic principles, we can regain our composure and perspective. Practical Stoicism also extends to how we handle interpersonal relationships. Stoics emphasize the importance of justice and kindness in dealing with others. This means practicing empathy, being fair in our judgments, and considering the common good in our decisions. It's about treating others with respect and understanding, even when we disagree or when others do not treat us as we'd hope. By embodying these virtues in our relationships, we not only live more stoically but also contribute to a more harmonious and supportive community. In our pursuit of personal growth, practical Stoicism encourages us to reflect on our day each evening. This isn't about harsh self-criticism, but about honest self-assessment. What did I do well today? Where could I have been more stoic? This practice of evening reflection helps solidify the day's lessons and prepares us to be even more virtuous and resilient tomorrow. It reinforces the Stoic commitment to continual improvement and helps us track our progress in living a Stoic life. Finally, practical Stoicism involves embracing challenges as opportunities for growth and learning. This means viewing obstacles not as impediments but as chances to practice and strengthen our Stoic virtues. Whether it's a difficult project at work, a personal setback, or an unexpected change in plans, each challenge is a chance to apply Stoic wisdom and resilience. By integrating these practices into our daily lives, Stoicism becomes not just a philosophy we read about, but a vibrant, living guide. It influences how we think, how we react, how we relate to others, and how we understand the world. Through practical Stoicism, we don't just survive the vicissitudes of life, we thrive amidst them, finding deeper satisfaction and peace in our journey through life. As we close today's journey into the heart of Stoicism, remember that embracing this philosophy is about more than just understanding. It's about living. Each moment, each decision, and each challenge offers a new opportunity to practice resilience, wisdom, and virtue. By integrating Stoicism into our daily lives, we don't just change ourselves, we change our entire world, one thoughtful action at a time. We all experience those moments when negative thoughts start creeping in, planting seeds of doubt and insecurity in our minds. The nagging voice that questions our abilities, worth, and decisions can be incredibly disruptive, impacting all aspects of our lives. If left unchecked, these mental patterns can spiral into anxiety, lack of motivation, and even depression. I know this struggle all too well. There were times when I felt consumed by negative self-talk and crippling self-doubt. It was a constant battle to silence the inner critic and regain my confidence. But then, I discovered the profound teachings of Stoicism. This ancient Greek philosophy provided me with powerful strategies to overcome these challenges. As Marcus Aurelius, the famous Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, wisely stated, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." This realization was transformative for me. I began to understand that my negative thoughts were not facts, but mere interpretations, and that I had the power to change them. So, what is the purpose of our journey today? It is to share the timeless Stoic principles that will help you deal effectively with negative thoughts and self-doubt. By the end of this exploration, you will be equipped with practical tools and insights to confront these inner battles head-on, reclaiming your inner peace and confidence. But this is not a passive experience. Stay engaged, reflect on these lessons, and actively apply them daily. True transformation occurs through knowledge, consistent action, and practice. With that, let us begin our exploration of the Stoic way of overcoming negative thoughts and self-doubt, guided by the wise words of Marcus Aurelius. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Understanding negative thoughts and self-doubt. we must first understand their nature and impact to effectively deal with negative thoughts and self-doubt. As Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, wisely stated, "It is not the things themselves that disturb people, but their judgments about these things." Negative thoughts are not inherently bad or wrong. Our minds create interpretations based on our experiences, beliefs, and conditioning. However, when left unchecked, these thoughts can spiral, distorting our perception of reality and undermining our sense of self-worth. For instance, consider a situation where you made a mistake at work. A negative thought might arise, such as, "I'm so incompetent, I'll never succeed in this job." This thought, however, is not a fact, but a judgment colored by self-doubt and harsh self-criticism. The impact of such negative self-talk can be far-reaching. It can affect our motivation, decision-making, and overall well-being. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Persistent negative thoughts can drain our energy, cloud our judgment, and even influence our physical health. Now, let's engage in a brief exercise. Take a moment to reflect on a recent negative thought or moment of self-doubt that you experienced. Please write it down or make a mental note of it. We will revisit this later in our exploration. Understanding the nature and potential consequences of negative thoughts enables us to approach them more objectively. We can recognize them as mere interpretations, not absolute truths, and work towards reframing them more constructively. Remember, as Epictetus taught, it is not the things themselves that disturb people, but their judgments about these things. With this awareness, we can break free from negative thoughts and self-doubt, paving the way for a more empowered and fulfilling life. Changing your perspective. One of the core principles of Stoicism is the idea that our thoughts shape our reality. Epictetus wisely stated, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them." This profound insight holds the key to overcoming negative thoughts and self-doubt. By changing our perspective, we can transform our experience. Let's revisit the example from the previous chapter, where you made a mistake at work and a negative thought arose, labeling you as incompetent and doubting your ability to succeed. This thought is not a fact, but a subjective interpretation colored by self-doubt and harsh self-criticism. The Stoics would encourage us to reframe this thought by adopting a more objective and rational perspective. Instead of criticizing ourselves, we could view the mistake as a learning opportunity to identify areas for improvement and growth. We could remind ourselves that mistakes are an inevitable part of the human experience, and that even the most accomplished individuals have faced setbacks and failures throughout their journeys. By reframing our perspective, we can transform a negative thought into a constructive one, shifting our mindset from self-doubt to self-compassion and resilience. But the Stoics didn't just preach theoretical ideas. They offered practical wisdom rooted in real-life examples. One such example comes from the life of Seneca, the famous Stoic philosopher and advisor to the Roman Emperor Nero. In one of his letters, Seneca recounts a story of a friend deeply troubled by a nightmarish vision he had experienced. Seneca advised his friend to focus on reality rather than being consumed by his imagination, saying, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." Like Seneca's friend, we often allow our negative thoughts and fears to spiral out of control, creating imagined scenarios that cause unnecessary suffering. By grounding ourselves in reality and adopting a more objective perspective, we can break free from the grip of these distorted thoughts. Here's a practical step-by-step guide to help you reframe a negative thought. Identify the negative thought or self-doubt. Write it down or make a mental note. Examine the evidence. Is this thought based on facts or assumptions? Are there alternative perspectives you still need to consider? Challenge the thought. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me or hurting me? Or, would I say this to a loved one in a similar situation? Reframe the thought. Replace the negative thought with a more constructive, rational interpretation that aligns with your values and goals. Repeat the reframed thought. Reinforce the new perspective by repeating it to yourself or writing it down. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. By actively practicing reframing our perspective, we can gradually rewire our thought patterns, cultivating a more resilient and empowered mindset. It takes consistent effort, but the rewards are immense. A greater sense of inner peace, self-confidence, and ability to navigate life's challenges with wisdom and grace. Focus on what you can control. One of the core tenets of Stoic philosophy is the principle of focusing our energy and attention on what we can control, rather than wasting time and energy agonizing over things beyond our influence. Epictetus famously stated, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This principle is compelling when dealing with negative thoughts and self-doubt. While we cannot always control the initial thoughts that arise, we can control how we respond to them. Do we allow them to spiral, fueling our self-doubt and anxiety, or do we consciously shift our focus to what is within our control? Let's consider a practical example. Imagine you've been passed over for a promotion at work, and feelings of self-doubt and negative thoughts begin to surface. I'm not good enough. I'll never advance in this company. I'm a failure. While it's understandable to feel disappointed, dwelling on these negative thoughts and ruminating over the situation will only breed more negativity and disempowerment. Instead, the Stoic approach would focus on what you can control: your reaction, your mindset, and your next steps. You might reframe the situation by acknowledging that while the outcome was not what you hoped for, it does not define your worth or capability. You can respond with resilience, using the experience as motivation to identify areas for growth and development. Additionally, you can focus on what is within your control, such as updating your skills, seeking feedback from mentors, or exploring new opportunities within or outside the company. This principle is exemplified in Epictetus' life. Born into slavery, he faced numerous challenges and adversities beyond his control. However, he focused his energy on what was within his power, his mindset, actions, and response to circumstances. In one of his famous teachings, Epictetus emphasized, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." By embracing this wisdom, we can avoid becoming consumed by negative thoughts and self-doubt from situations we cannot control. Instead, we can focus on our sphere of influence, taking constructive action and maintaining a positive, empowered mindset. To put this principle into practice, I invite you to pause and reflect on a current worry or concern causing you distress. Identify the aspects of the situation within your control and separate them from the factors beyond your influence. By consciously shifting your focus to what you can control, you'll find it easier to let go of negative thoughts and self-doubt surrounding the uncontrollable elements. This simple yet profound practice can cultivate inner peace, resilience, and empowerment in facing life's challenges. As Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By embracing this Stoic wisdom, you can reclaim your power and navigate life's ups and downs with grace and composure. Building resilience through Stoic practices. Thus far, we've discussed powerful Stoic principles for reframing negative thoughts, focusing on what's within our control, and cultivating an empowered mindset. However, the Stoics understood that lasting inner transformation requires more than intellectual understanding. It demands consistent practice and the cultivation of specific mental habits. One such practice is the Stoic concept of negative visualization, which may seem counterintuitive at first glance. As Epictetus wisely stated, "No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer you that there must be time." Negative visualization involves contemplating potential adverse scenarios or misfortunes that could befall us. It may sound like a recipe for pessimism, but the Stoics saw it as a tool to cultivate gratitude, resilience, and a deeper appreciation for the present moment. By mentally preparing for challenges and setbacks, we become less shocked and overwhelmed when they inevitably occur. Additionally, it helps us cherish the good things rather than take them for granted. Let's engage in a brief exercise to experience the power of this practice. Close your eyes and imagine losing something truly valuable to you, a possession, a relationship, or even your health. Allow yourself to feel the weight of that potential loss. Fully notice how this exercise can heighten your gratitude for what you currently have and instill a sense of humble appreciation for the temporary nature of all things. The Stoics understood that by regularly practicing negative visualization, we could develop a kind of emotional immunity, a resilience that allows us to weather life's storms with poise and grace. Marcus Aurelius, the mighty Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, embodied this principle. Despite facing numerous personal losses and challenges, including the untimely deaths of several children and a devastating plague that ravaged his empire, Marcus Aurelius maintained his composure. He continued to govern with wisdom and compassion. He wrote in his famous Meditations, "How ridiculous and unrealistic is the man who is astonished at anything that happens in life." By embracing the Stoic practice of negative visualization, Marcus Aurelius cultivated a profound sense of resilience and acceptance, allowing him to navigate even the most harrowing circumstances with grace and poise. As we continue our journey toward overcoming negative thoughts and self-doubt, practices like negative visualization can serve as powerful tools to fortify our mental and emotional resilience. By regularly reminding ourselves of the impermanence of all things and mentally preparing for potential adversity, we can cultivate a sense of humble gratitude and develop the inner strength to face life's challenges with courage and wisdom. Remember, as Epictetus taught, no great thing is created suddenly. Building resilience is a gradual process that requires consistent practice and dedication, but by embracing Stoic practices, we can steadily cultivate the inner resources to overcome negative thoughts, self-doubt, and any obstacles that may arise. Surrounding yourself with positivity, while the Stoic teachings emphasize cultivating inner resilience and self-mastery, the ancient philosophers recognized the profound impact our social environment has on our mental and emotional well-being. As Epictetus wisely advised, the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. The people we surround ourselves with can either fuel our negative thought patterns and self-doubt, or inspire us to rise above them. Their words, attitudes, and energy can drag us down or elevate us to new heights of confidence and self-assurance. Think about the individuals in your life who consistently radiate positivity, encouragement, and belief in your potential. Perhaps it's a close friend, a mentor, or a family member who has consistently supported and uplifted you, even during your darkest moments of self-doubt. Now, contrast that with the people in your life who seem to perpetuate your negative thought patterns. They might be quick to criticize, doubt your abilities, or project their insecurities onto you. The Stoics understood that limiting exposure to negative influences and intentionally cultivating uplifting relationships could profoundly impact our mental and emotional state. Consider the example of Monkey D. Luffy from the anime One Piece. Luffy's journey to becoming the Pirate King is significantly influenced by the positive and supportive friends he surrounds himself with. Early in his quest, Luffy gathers a diverse crew of individuals who believe in his dream and support him through every challenge and setback. Characters like Zoro, Nami, Sanji, and Chopper contribute their strengths and unwavering belief in Luffy, encouraging him to persevere despite overwhelming odds. Their support and friendship help Luffy stay resilient and inspire each other to grow and reach their potential. By intentionally curating his crew, Luffy creates an environment that nurtures confidence, resilience, and determination, ultimately propelling him toward his dream of finding the One Piece and becoming the Pirate King. On the other hand, imagine the path of someone who remains entrenched in a toxic social environment, constantly surrounded by negativity, criticism, and doubt. It becomes increasingly challenging for them to break free from negative thoughts and self-doubt when those patterns are continuously reinforced by their social influences. So, how can we apply this Stoic wisdom to our own lives? Here are some practical tips. Evaluate your current social circle. Identify the individuals who uplift and encourage you, as well as those who perpetuate negative thought patterns. Gradually limit exposure to toxic influences while nurturing and prioritizing relationships with positive, supportive people. Seek out communities, groups, or mentors aligned with your values and goals, as they can provide a powerful source of inspiration and motivation. Be mindful of the energy you bring to your relationships. Strive to positively influence others, just as you seek positivity from them. Remember, as Epictetus taught, the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. By intentionally surrounding ourselves with positive influences, we create an environment conducive to overcoming negative thoughts and self-doubt and embracing our full potential. It's a journey that requires conscious effort and discernment, but the rewards are invaluable. A greater sense of confidence, resilience, and the ability to navigate life's challenges with the support and encouragement of those who believe in us. Gratitude and contentment. At the core of Stoic philosophy lies a profound understanding of the power of gratitude and contentment. These principles serve as potent antidotes to the negative thought patterns and self-doubt that can quickly consume us in our modern, fast-paced lives. As Marcus Aurelius eloquently stated, "Do not indulge in dreams of having what you have not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess, and then thankfully remember how you would crave for them if they were not yours." These words encapsulate the essence of gratitude, the practice of actively appreciating and savoring the blessings we already possess, rather than constantly yearning for more. By cultivating gratitude, we shift our focus away from perceived deficiencies and scarcity and instead embrace the abundance surrounding us. Imagine the weight lifted from your shoulders if you genuinely appreciate and feel grateful for all the positive aspects of your life, rather than fixating on what you lack or wish you had. The Stoics understood that this shift in perspective could profoundly impact our mental and emotional well-being. Seneca, another prominent Stoic philosopher, echoed this sentiment when he wrote, "It is in no man's power to have whatever he wants, but he has it in his power not to wish for what he hasn't got, and cheerfully make the most of the things that do come his way." These words remind us that true contentment does not come from constantly acquiring more, but from cultivating a sense of sufficiency and appreciating what we already have. By embracing this mindset, we can break free from the endless desire and dissatisfaction that fuels so much of our negative self-talk and self-doubt. To put this into practice, let's engage in a brief gratitude exercise. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Now, consider 3 aspects of your life that you are truly grateful for. Perhaps your health, a loving relationship, or a cherished memory. Allow yourself to fully savor and appreciate these blessings, feeling the warmth of gratitude spread through your being. As you open your eyes, notice the subtle shift in your perspective. Do you feel lighter, more present, and less burdened by negative thoughts or self-doubt? This is the transformative power of gratitude and contentment. Acceptance and letting go. Epictetus wisely advised, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will go on well." These words highlight a profound truth. Much of our suffering and negative thought patterns stem from our resistance to how things are and our attachment to how we believe they should be. By accepting reality as it unfolds, without judgment or resistance, we can cultivate a sense of inner peace and freedom from negative thoughts and self-doubt. Consider the example of a student who has worked tirelessly to prepare for a critical exam, only to receive a disappointing result. Suppose they cling to the expectation of a different outcome. In that case, they will likely spiral into a cycle of negative self-talk, doubt, and rumination. However, if they embrace the Stoic principle of acceptance, they can acknowledge the reality of the situation without judgment or self-criticism. They can redirect their energy toward constructive next steps rather than dwelling on what cannot be changed. This principle was embodied by Marcus Aurelius, who faced numerous challenges and adversities during his reign as Roman emperor. In his famous Meditations, he wrote, "How ridiculous and strange to be surprised at anything which happens in life." These words reflect a deep understanding of the impermanence and unpredictability of life, a recognition that resistance and clinging to expectations only breeds suffering. By accepting the ebb and flow of circumstances with equanimity, Marcus Aurelius navigated even the most tumultuous times with grace and wisdom. The Stoics understood that true freedom lies in letting go of our resistance and accepting what is, rather than constantly battling against reality. As Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, nothing happens to anybody which he is not fitted by nature to bear. Consider a situation you have resisted or struggled to accept. To put this principle into practice, take a few deep breaths and consciously let go of your resistance, embracing the reality of the situation without judgment or self-criticism. Notice how this simple acceptance can alleviate the burden of negative thoughts and self-doubt. By releasing the need to control or change the uncontrollable, you create space for inner peace, clarity, and the ability to respond with wisdom and equanimity. By embracing the Stoic practices of acceptance and letting go, we can cultivate the inner freedom to navigate life's challenges with resilience, grace, and a profound sense of inner peace. Self-reflection and growth. While the Stoic teachings provide potent tools for dealing with negative thoughts and self-doubt in the present moment, these ancient philosophers understood that lasting transformation requires a more profound commitment to self-reflection and personal growth. As Epictetus wisely advised, when you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your failings. He will grow better for being reproved, and you better yourself by this wholesome exercise. These words highlight the profound value of self-reflection, the practice of turning our gaze inward, examining our thoughts, beliefs, and actions with honesty and courage. Through this process, we can identify areas for growth, confront our blind spots, and cultivate the self-awareness necessary for lasting personal development. Imagine for a moment a scenario where you made a mistake or experienced a setback that triggered a wave of negative self-talk and self-doubt. Instead of wallowing in these thoughts or projecting blame onto external factors, the Stoic approach would be to engage in radical self-reflection. Ask yourself probing questions. What role did my own actions or assumptions play in this outcome? What lessons can I learn from this experience? How can I approach similar situations with greater wisdom and resilience in the future? By adopting this mindset of self-reflection and growth, we shift our perspective from self-criticism and stagnation to empowerment and continuous improvement. The Stoics understood that personal growth is not a linear journey, but a cyclical process of self-reflection, learning, and implementation. It requires a willingness to confront our shortcomings and embrace challenges as opportunities for growth, rather than sources of self-doubt and negativity. One powerful example of this principle in action is the life story of Epictetus himself. Born into slavery and subjected to numerous hardships, Epictetus could have easily succumbed to bitterness, resentment, and self-pity. However, he chose a path of radical self-reflection and personal growth. Through his unwavering commitment to examining his thoughts, beliefs, and actions, Epictetus developed a profound understanding of the human condition and the path to inner freedom. His teachings have resonated for centuries and serve as a testament to the transformative power of self-reflection and growth. To cultivate this practice in your life, start by setting aside dedicated time for self-reflection. Whether through journaling, meditation, or simply creating space for quiet contemplation. During these moments, ask yourself probing questions about your thoughts, beliefs, and actions, and approach your self-inquiry with curiosity and compassion. When you inevitably encounter moments of failure, setbacks, or negative self-talk, use them as opportunities for growth. Resist the urge to indulge in self-criticism or blame. Instead, turn your attention inward. Explore the lessons to be learned, the blind spots to be illuminated, and the steps to approach similar situations with greater wisdom and resilience. Remember, as Epictetus taught, seek not the good in external things, seek it in yourselves. By committing to the Stoic practice of self-reflection and growth, you unlock the key to overcoming negative thoughts and self-doubt from the inside out. It is a journey that requires courage, honesty, and a willingness to confront your limitations with humility, but the rewards are immeasurable. A more profound sense of self-awareness, resilience, and the ability to navigate life's challenges with wisdom and grace. Stoic quotes about negative thoughts and self-doubt. The ancient Stoic philosophers left us a treasure trove of wisdom for dealing with negative thoughts and self-doubt. Let's explore some of their most powerful insights. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Marcus Aurelius. Our thoughts shape our reality. By changing our thoughts, we can change our experience of life. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Marcus Aurelius. Our suffering comes not from external events, but from our judgments about them, which we can change. How ridiculous and unrealistic is the man who is astonished at anything that happens in life. Marcus Aurelius. There is no need to be shocked or disturbed by life's inevitable challenges and setbacks. Acceptance is key. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. Our persistent thoughts profoundly influence our state of being. Negative thoughts breed negativity. It is not the things themselves that disturb people, but their judgments about these things. Epictetus. Events themselves are neutral. Our interpretations cause us distress or inner peace. There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. Epictetus. Happiness comes from focusing our energy on what we can control, not the uncontrollable. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Epictetus. We cannot always control circumstances, but we can control our responses to them. Men are disturbed, not by things, but by the view which they take of them. Epictetus. Our perspective, not external events, is the true source of our inner turmoil or peace. Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will go on well. Epictetus. Acceptance, not resistance, is the path to tranquility. We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. Seneca. Our pessimistic forecasts often cause more suffering than reality itself. Nothing happens to anybody which he is not fitted by nature to bear. Marcus Aurelius. We have the innate resilience to withstand whatever life brings our way. Remove the judgment, and you have removed the thought, I am hurt, and the hurt itself is gone. Marcus Aurelius. It is our judgments that create our suffering, not circumstances themselves. Until we have begun to go without them, we fail to realize how unnecessary many things are. We've been using them not because we needed them, but because we had them. Seneca. These words encapsulate the essence of the Stoic approach, the recognition that true freedom and fulfillment arise not from external circumstances or possessions, but from the cultivation of our inner resources, resilience, and alignment with our deepest values. Internalizing these Stoic teachings allows us to rewire our minds, question our negative thought patterns, and cultivate a more resilient, empowered mindset. The path to overcoming self-doubt lies in changing our perspectives and reactions, not controlling the uncontrollable. Remember, the journey toward overcoming negative thoughts and self-doubt is not a destination, but a continuous practice, a lifelong commitment to personal growth, self-reflection, and the pursuit of a life well lived.